your story has so many facets that I'm like so curious about. Like I don't really know where to start, but what I really want to say to you guys is I apologize when you used the bathroom that the toilet seat was up.
Oh, I'm not even worried about that. I've got 2 boys in my house. I mean, luckily they do a good job, so I don't have to, you know, bitch at them too much, but they do a good job. So.
We just recently had a conversation about this. So
actually we did last week.
Yeah.
Like, why is this all of a sudden up now? Is that a thing now?
Nip it in the butt.
Yes.
And second of all, congratulations for really getting around what Greg Glassman calls the mess. You guys made it onto what we like to say a lifeboat. You guys made it into a CrossFit gym, and you're you have to be like considered one of the you two, but mostly her.
Oh, absolutely. No.
You've taken your life into your own hands instead of giving it to what we call the mess, what Greg has called the mess, and you took charge of your own life and you cured yourself of your type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
That's a true statement.
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
That's huge. Now you're like a pioneer, a role model. I mean, you're a superwoman in an age when we need that more than ever, right?
I would agree. I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
I think more and more people are finding that maybe mainstream advice from their doctors or whatnot, and not to take anything away from them, but sometimes you can get lost in the mix. And I found that I kind of got lost in the mix.
You made lifestyle choices for many, many years that led to this ailment that we call type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
And in a second, I want to ask you what that actually is.
Sure.
And that's not a doctor's job to fix your lifestyle choices, right?
No.
He's there when you fall down the stairs and you need your leg repaired, right?
Right.
He's not there to tell you that 20 years of lifestyle choices have been
exactly
so devastating, right? You have to take control of those.
Yes.
Yeah. For you, it was, here's the pill. Take the pill, and you made the choice that that's not the way you wanted to go.
Yeah, that's not the way that I'm going to go. Here's the pill. You could try this Weight Watchers thing, and I'll get you out of my room here in 20 minutes, and I'm going to go see the next person. And we'd kind of done that. I'd had a lot of issues leading up to it, and had kind of done that rat race over and over and over again. And I just wasn't going to do it anymore.
And, you know, one of the things that I feel thinking back on it now, one of the reasons why you wanted to change is because you take one pill and you have to take another pill to treat symptoms or side effects of that first pill.
From the first one.
And then you take another pill to treat the symptoms or side effects, rather, of that second pill. So it's this never-ending cycle and this circle you got stuck in. And that was one of the big drivers. And you said, I'm done. I want to make that change. I want to get off all of these medications. I want to do this my way, the right way, the long-term way.
Absolutely.
What is type 2 diabetes?
So type 2 diabetes is it's not something you're born with. It's absolutely your genetics. It's your lifestyle choices, and it's typically characterized by a very high fasting glucose level. It has to do with,
meaning you have too much sugar in your bloodstream.
You do. Your body doesn't know how to regulate it. Your insulin, you have too much insulin. You become insulin resistant, which means your body doesn't respond to it. So it has to continue making more and more and more so that you can take from it, make energy, and do what you need to do with it. So what happens is over time, with the lifestyle choices you make, the genetic components that you have, that signal of how much insulin a normal human being should have becomes louder, and it starts screaming. And so it produces so much, and you just have so much of it free flowing in your body, and things shut down eventually. Eyesight, circulatory issues,
reproductive in your case, right?
Reproductive issues, absolutely. Obesity, number one.
Were your menses out of whack? When you were you not having regular
incredibly
out of whack?
Incredibly. But I would also go back to say from the very beginning, when I first started my cycle, which was very young, they were not ever very regular at all. And at that point, you have a few years of that, and you say what's wrong, and your doctor says, oh, you're 14, let's put you on the pill. So at 14, then I'm taking synthetic hormones, and taking a reproductive system that's just trying to figure out what to do, and we're giving it all these artificial messages and say, no, this is what you do. So I took that.
I take it your daughter won't be going on birth control at 14?
Absolutely not.
Right.
No, absolutely not.
You don't want to mess with her hormones at 14?
No, as a matter of fact, we don't even really give our children much dairy at all, for one of those reasons being the way that dairy changes hormones, especially in females. I'm not comfortable with giving her that, knowing that some of my issues are hereditary. So I'm not sure how much of that I've passed down to my little girl. So
well, that's one thing that you cut out early on also in your diet was dairy.
Yeah,
that started to help
that regulated my cycles more than anything ever had. I got off the pill my early 20s after we had gotten married.
Wow, so you were on the pill for 8-9 years?
Probably about 10 years.
Shit.
From 14 to 24.
Yeah.
How many menses did you have before you got on the pill? Just right away?
I'd say a year or two.
Okay. So when you're 15 or 16, you got on it.
I started the pill at 14.
Oh, at 14.
So
yes.
Yeah,
so you did start early, like when you were 12.
Yeah.
I think that's early shit. What do I know?
Yeah, it's early. I mean, it's early. I was like 11 or 12. Yeah.
Elliot and Lindsay Chirac did an amazing piece on you. Elliot and Lindsay Chirac are filmmakers with CrossFit Inc. We have Dani and Travis in here. Your last name is?
Raine.
Yeah. We have Matt Bischel in here, head of CrossFit social media. And we have Eric Maciel, who's not allowed to talk, doing cameras and audio.
Wishes he had an extra hand.
And external media. Yeah, he does wish he had an extra hand. You're going to see, he's just warming up. He does some magic back there. So what lifestyle choices were you making from a young age that brought on this manifestation of type 2 diabetes? Do you know?
Oh,
South Louisiana.
Gosh, absolutely.
You did this to yourself, right?
It was probably a combination.
Okay.
Type 2 diabetes is incredibly prevalent in my family.
Okay.
Very, very, very prevalent. Okay. So it's a combination of what was in my genetic cards to begin with and lifestyle. We grew up in southern Louisiana. We're talking good food here.
Okay.
Real good
We're
food.
talking rice with every meal.
Okay.
We're talking about lots of drinking. Now.
And Louisiana's every time I've been to Louisiana, it's like the Coca-Cola capital of the world.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a Coke in their hand.
I drank sodas like they were going out of style. I mean, I'd never had a water bottle in my hand. I had a Sprite or a Fresca or a Coke or whatever. But yeah, lots of soda, lots of juice, white rice,
fried foods.
I think. Oh,
Mm.
fried foods. Some good food.
Yeah.
We're talking good food. So it's just that's the lifestyle down there, and there's nothing wrong with it in moderation, but this is all the time. This is how you live.
Yeah, family events were surrounded.
It's all surrounded by food.
The family event was around the meal.
Yeah.
That was why you got together, was to eat and visit with family and friends was.
Yeah, but we're gonna eat.
There, but we're gonna eat.
Yeah.
Several times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common in a lot of cultures, right? I'm Armenian, and that's
Absolutely.
what it was too. You get around and you eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So for sure, I would say that even at a young age, even in middle school, I noticed that I would have these like crashes up and down where I would feel like very, very hungry, and I'd start sweating, and like cognitive function would go down, and I'd feel like I was going to pass out. And then I would need like crackers or something, like a big carb load. And then I would eat that. And then
How old is this?
Oh, I was like 5th and 6th grade doing this.
Wow.
And I thought, maybe I just didn't eat a good breakfast or whatever happened. There was always like an excuse.
At that age, everything is normal, right?
Yeah, everything.
Your parents
normal.
beat you, it's normal.
Yeah.
You had diabetes, it's normal.
It's normal,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, that's
you're
what
in
you
5th
do.
grade, yeah.
Exactly. And everybody else is eating the cafeteria food and
Right.
eating this, that, and the other. And I'm doing it too, but my body doesn't respond like everybody else's seems to be.
Right.
So I did that even through high school. I remember I had an English teacher my senior year. I'd finished a test, and I remember like visibly just sweating and feeling like I was going to pass out. And I remember telling her, I don't know if you have like a bag of peanuts in your purse or something, but I'm about to fall on this floor. And I remember she set me up with some peanuts and I ate and I felt better. And so I just kind of did that up and down for a long time. So we're talking maybe some issues with like insulin resistance before. I mean, that's where you go before you hit type 2 is insulin resistant. That's pre-diabetes. So yeah, I'm sure that I was dealing with that even at that young of an age. And just in our lifestyle and our culture, the way that we were eating was not doing me any favors at all. At all.
It was maintaining it.
Yes.
It was sending you down that alleyway.
Yes.
I saw someone the other day, Greg Glassman, we released something that Greg said the other day about our war against Coca-Cola. And he said, hey man, and I'm paraphrasing what Greg said, you can see it in our journal or on YouTube, but basically he says, hey, we don't have a problem per se with Coke. We know all the damage it does, period. But what we do have a problem with Coca-Cola is, and anyone who's in the sugar industry, we don't want them having any influence in the health and fitness space. We don't need your help.
Agreed.
And someone took a shot at Greg, said something negative about him, like, or about the comment, Coca-Cola doesn't cause type 2 diabetes. And one of the responses I saw is, you take a bad diet and you add Coca-Cola to it, and someone wrote, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
And we also had Matt Bischel in here, and he basically said that you can't be obese unless you drink your calories.
I would 1,000%
And I was like,
agree.
holy shit, that's some really good advice, right?
Yes.
He said, if you want to just make the first step, just start drinking water is your only
I couldn't
drink.
agree more. How many times do I tell that to people?
So many people.
It's the soda. And they ask, what do you drink now? I drink water.
How much weight have you lost?
122 pounds.
Which is basically one of you now.
That's
You said that. I read that in your Instagram. I lost a whole woman.
I lost a whole me. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Did you have surgery with any of the skin here? No? Because some of the, like in that picture, I see extra skin, and in other pictures, I don't.
So this was very soon after I had lost. This is like right when I hit 100 pounds lost, right?
Okay.
And then, of course,
that's
you're
your
not going to see
daughter
it.
at your feet right there?
Yeah, that's our little Harper Joe. I mean, you're not going to see it here because I have a shirt on. But actually, one of the things that is really important to me this year is, I don't really have anywhere to go as far as losing any weight. I would love to put on more muscle and become a lot more healthy mentally, as far as being okay with this. Saying that this is okay. Nobody has my story. Nobody's run in my shoes.
Right.
So, when I sit and I do a 30-second plank and I look down my shirt and I see all that hanging down there, I need to own that and be okay with that, because there's nothing wrong with that. Do I like it? I don't love it. But again, nobody that I know has lost 122 pounds. So this is me needing to own that and be strong and mentally fit to say, this is just my story and this is the way my body looks.
I brought up to someone the other day, someone was telling me who had lost a ton of weight. I said, hey, they said, I want to get the surgery. And I said, well, isn't it a badge of honor? And they said, that's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
So I quickly shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I saw a picture of you in a bikini outside of a cruise ship, I think.
Yeah.
And there's no sign of that in that picture. Just different angles.
Probably a great angle.
Right. Okay.
There it is. There, I would say that most people are very surprised that I haven't had any sort of skin removal surgery, and I would say that the amount of extra skin that is there is probably a testament to the fact that I did lose it in a slower manner. I didn't lose it all really fast. It did take me a while, but I was very consistent when I did it. Also, I think losing it at a younger age, I was like, I guess 27 or 28 when that was taken. So that probably has a role to play in it too. And maybe just somebody threw me a freaking bone. Thanks.
Right. You're young at an early age. You notice something's not right. 5th grade. You're put on birth control early.
Yes.
Now in hindsight, you're like, that's bullshit.
Yes.
You get older and older. And how old are you when you meet Travis?
14.
Holy smokes. Is that 8th grade?
High school.
It was my freshman year of high school, so we were high school sweethearts.
Oh, you've been dating that long too.
We have, yeah.
So Wow. So you guys know each other through like puberty and adolescence and teenage years and like young adulthood and now adulthood. And now you know her as a mom and you know him as a dad.
Yeah.
Wow. And he knows you as 250 pounds and he knows you as 125 pounds?
Yes.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, it's been a crazy. So talking about all of the.
That's a lot of reinventing.
Talking about the living through the journey truly as partners and side by side has been, I think, probably one of the biggest things that separates us from a lot of other people, in that we've been there, done that. Really, truly have done that, and gives us a whole new perspective on just how we live day to day and how we want to help raise our kids and navigate through this crazy world and everything. So,
is it easy?
No. There's so many moving parts.
I set you up with that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many moving parts. It's so funny because just to take this trip, we had Travis's mom. She's retired, so she was able to take a couple days off and stay with our kids so they could get to school and all this. So, we typed up this list. This is what you do on Monday. This is what you do on Tuesday. And we realized, man, we do a lot of shit.
Holy hell.
But I mean also this, he's not the same person even remotely. In some ways the core yes. pieces stay the same, but you're with someone, and to be with them a long time you have to give them a lot of space to reinvent themselves and to explore their identity, right?
Absolutely. And I think when we talk about this, I think we mentioned this a little bit in that video, but we went through and we kind of found ourselves in the health and fitness space or the journey at slightly different times.
We did.
And doing that, it was for a while, I think I started making a few changes maybe a year before you.
Because I just had Harper Joe, so I was in that postpartum period, and I wasn't ready to make that change, and he did.
I needed to be able to recognize that.
Did you resent him for that? Like he was
Never.
leaving you behind? Like,
no.
Dude, what the fuck?
No, and I think when you say, is that hard? Because we seem to reinvent ourselves often. I think because at the core of it, Travis is who he is, and I am who I am. At the end of the day, we're both so supportive of one another that I know that anything that he chose to do would always be for our best interest, because I know that as a man, that's who he is. And I know that as a truth. So when he chooses, and he chose to start working out, losing some weight, there was never resentment, because I knew that was what he needed to do for him. Yeah. And I never took it personally, like that means I'm not good enough.
Was he preachy or judgmental?
Never.
I think the communication piece is, hey, this is, hey, I saw this picture of myself. I'm ready to make this change.
Yep.
This is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start shopping for myself this way. We're going to start doing these things and, come along for the ride when you're ready.
Yeah.
It was never you've got to do this.
It was always very open, and you would say, hey, he started doing P90X video in the living room.
In the living room.
And, Harper Joe was a little infant. I was nursing all the time. And, we had a 3-year-old as well with Caden. And he would say, I'm going to go downstairs and do the video. And I said, okay, well, I'll come watch.
Oh, that's
and I
awesome.
would take the little kids and I would sit on the couch and I would nurse Harper Joe and entertain Caden and watch him do P90X.
So you guys are in love.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We like to spend time together. I wasn't ready to hop in at the time, but I was totally cool with watching you do it.
you like watching him move.
I do. Yeah.
Do you still like watching him move when he works out?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool watching your mate move. It's like, wow. It's cool watching anyone move. But yeah. So 14 years old, you guys start dating.
Yes.
Do you guys, what's that like at dating as a 14-year-old? Do you guys kiss, or do you guys hold hands, or like, do you guys just talk on the phone a lot? And like when you see each other at school, you don't do anything?
So he was a senior and I was a freshman.
Shit.
Shit. But the plot thickens.
It's okay.
I did not see that one coming. I didn't see it coming.
Shit.
So he is older. I was
should run for president of France.
But wait, we met in band class.
In band camp.
Isn't that precious?
Before, yeah.
It was actually band camp?
It was the high school band camp the 2 weeks before.
Isn't that so sweet?
Actually started.
What did you play?
Well, I started out playing the flute, but I played several other instruments in the band.
And what did you play?
Saxophone.
Okay.
I would have picked trumpet, but that's just
trumpet.
Okay, so you guys meet, and when you guys met at band camp, were there sparks right away, or was there? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I was young. I never had any other boyfriends in middle school. I didn't have time for all of that. Plus, I felt like the guys. I mean, no offense to them now, because I think we're all Facebook friends now. But at the time. And I was always like older, I was young, I was whatever age I was, but I was always more mature. So I didn't have time for the boys that were my age, all that nonsense. So when I'd met Travis, instantly thought he was handsome.
I was the band president too, so that
wow.
That helps.
I bet you're an Eagle Scout too.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. So you were in a position of power.
I think
that will never fly today.
I think that really is what caught our eye was that presidency.
But you know what? I think the biggest thing is we were able to have conversations, and we were able to laugh just the way we laugh now. I mean, we laugh in the same way, joke around all the time, have serious conversations. We had much of the same interests. But I think what I loved most and what I found most attractive about Trav was that the way that he made me feel. He made me feel like a goddess. And you still do.
In the video, he comes across as a very understanding man. Like when you talk to him, he's understanding what you're saying.
Yes.
And it's really captured. Elliot and Lindsay capture that. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy's like, this is what women want. The guy who listens and understands.
What really stood out to me was the way that you look at her. I remember I was watching the video at home and I paused it and I called my wife over and I was like, look at the way he looks.
Do I look at you like this?
maybe 5% of the time.
No, not me to you. Not me to you. Not me to you. Don't get weird. I mean, did you ask Bailey that?
I did ask Bailey that, yeah. And she said, wow. It's like it's a very deep look of admiration. You feel there's like mutual respect. That. Yeah. It's incredible. You're even doing it in here.
Well,
yeah, stop that.
I mean, so she says that about me, but for all the things that I've done, I've always looked to her because she, to me, is the strongest person I know, and I always look to her for the inspiration. So I think it's a good, we fuel each other's fire, without a doubt. I mean, so this picture was when I was back from Christmas holiday while I was at A&M, and you were still in high school. So we did the whole long distance thing. So while she was still in Louisiana and I was off in college in Texas.
And this is pre-cell phone, right?
Yeah. So we dated together that year.
You talked on phones with cords.
We did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then we had the 3 years of long distance. I'm still back in Lafayette, Louisiana. He's at Texas A&M. And I made the drive. Either my parents or his parents, God bless them, would take me to every home football game.
Wow. I was in the band there.
So you had supportive parents of your relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your dad wasn't like, hey man, come on, go do your thing.
You know what?
The coolest thing ever. So Danielle is the older of 2 daughters, right?
You're the elder of 2 daughters?
Yes.
And you're the younger of
3 sons.
3 sons. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the first time I butterflies in my stomach. The first time I went over to her house after school, and her dad invited me in the garage, and I was like, "Oh, here comes the talk. Okay, I'm ready."
Cleaning his shotgun.
He was like, "Dude, check this out." And he started taking stuff apart and like asked me how to fix things, and I was like, "Dude, this is awesome." Yeah. And I think almost from that moment on, it was like that son he never had, that instant bond. His parents are always very understanding and accepting, and they were super supportive. And I think of me and my brothers, Danielle was the first serious girlfriend of the 3 of us. So she was the daughter that my mom never had.
Oh, even though you were the youngest one.
I was the youngest. My 2 older brothers had girlfriends here and there and that. But
do you think there's a good parenting tip there when if you want the friends of your kids or the mates of your kids to be good to your kids, then you should be good to them? Because as the father was good to you, he was like putting on you this responsibility to be good to his daughter, and the more respect he gave you. You think that's a good manipulation tool? Like, I'm thinking like,
I would agree.
I think there's something there.
As opposed to being an asshole to him, and then they're like, "Fuck this kid."
I gotta play this role as the
No, my dad just loved Travis from the very beginning, and you know what? My parents
set the bar high for them, so they have to live up to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. My parents are 4 years apart. They were high school sweethearts, so they kind of walked the walk. So it wasn't
feel like that helped.
They were open to it, and they knew that. I mean, I was 14, but I was very responsible and mature at the age. They knew they didn't have to worry about me. So they just loved Trav from the minute they met him.
Your parents are still together?
Yes.
Are your parents still together?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you guys have
very loving relationships.
Good role models there.
I'll never forget our first date that we went to.
Yeah.
I was okay, so what time are we going to be home? And I was thinking I had 10 o'clock, 10:30. Your parents were like, 1? I don't know.
1, 2? Does that work for you?
I was like, okay.
Cool.
So,
like it's a negotiation.
Yeah.
Does that work with your schedule?
But I still brought her home at 10 because that's what I should do.
President.
There you go.
There you go.
There it is.
Honorary Eagle Scout.
When did you notice each other were putting on weight? When did you notice, like,
So
let me ask you this real quick, though.
Yeah.
Even before then, do you guys start talking to each other? Anyway, fuck that. Go back to the first question.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the first question. When did you guys notice each other were putting on weight, or yourselves were putting on weight?
So I noticed it in high school. He obviously was getting in more shape because he was in the Corps at A&M. So it's obviously like military-like. And so he was in good shape as an 18-year-old.
He's running while holding a sax.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
For sure. All of that. I started putting on weight after he left. So sophomore, junior, senior year, every year I'd probably put on more weight, which was exactly the time that I started taking antidepressants. So I started taking antidepressants at 15 and gained 30 pounds that summer.
Time out. How does someone get on antidepressants?
Well, I'll fit this in a short space, but I guess when you boil it down is a super type A person, definitely deal with anxiety. And at the time, I think there was a lot of issues that I dealt with that I didn't think that were normal for people, kind of like obsessive compulsive type things. And I didn't want a lot of people to know about them. So pretty much nobody knew about them. And it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm washing my hands all the time, but it was little things like actually like my thoughts were very obsessive and very, it's hard to explain.
Around life or death stuff?
Yes,
around,
life or death, and even little things. And silly things, like my pins have to be spaced a certain number of spaces from each other in my backpack. Little things like that. And I noticed that it became less of just like a quirk and more of it was ruling.
It started interfering with your day-to-day. It came to the point where that was more of your time than it was doing whatever it is you needed to get done.
Like it would take me a long time to get out of the house. I'd have to check the microwave and the oven, even if I never touched the oven in the morning. I'd have to just make sure everything was off because the thoughts would be, okay, I'm going to leave for school and there's going to be a little gas leak and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to have no family because I left it like that.
Right.
So I'm going to have to check this.
You had a whole narrative.
Yeah. So
do you have that still to this day?
Yes, I do. But I will say that being very active helps me take all that extra like mental energy and put it somewhere. Coping mechanisms obviously have helped. And being a mom to where I just physically don't have the time to worry about the things that I used to worry about has helped a lot. But does that ever go away? No. It almost just sort of changes shapes as you get older. And I think that
Which ones do you do now? Do you do the door lock at night?
No, I'm much better at that. Yeah, I know. I mean,
I'm a crazy door lock at night.
Wait, what do you mean? I don't know what that one is.
Let me lock it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
No, you lock all the doors.
Yeah, and then go do it again.
And then like be at your computer, answer emails for an hour, and be like, I better check that again.
Yeah.
So I get up, check all the doors again.
Yeah, because you like get like a visceral feeling of anxiety about it.
Go to bed, start to go to sleep. Did I lock the doors?
And then get up and go.
I know I locked the doors.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even think about it anymore. Just go check so you don't have to think about it.
You know what I started
and then I'm
doing?
just like, geez, this is the third time I've locked all the doors.
The thing that I started doing in college was I took a little notepad and everything that would give me anxiety that I needed to check, I'd write it down. And when I actually checked it, I put a little tick mark. So I'd put it by my bed when I had the thoughts. I'd go and look and say like, then my goal is to not have to get up and go do it again, but to just be okay with the fact that I marked that I did it, and I need to put that down and quit being cray.
What's fucked is
it's okay.
Once a month I'll get up and the door isn't locked.
Oh God.
Oh. Yeah.
And that sets it. Oh my God, I knew it. I knew I should be checking.
Then that's going to set it off.
Yeah. Okay. And the only other one I have that I'd like to admit now is the backpack one.
Yeah.
So close the backpack, put the backpack on. Go to get on the motorcycle, start the motorcycle. Did I close the backpack?
Oh.
Turn off the motorcycle, get off, take off the backpack.
Wow. I never, these are the things I don't know.
seem so perfect to you, don't I?
That's not what I was going to say. But I was going to say, leaving the house, I feel like I witness that every day with my wife. We're always taking forever to get out of the house.
You're in big trouble.
Wherever we're going.
Big trouble.
No, I don't say that maliciously. I just think it's like,
too late.
It's too late. I'm just going to go with it now. It just seems like she's like has to do like so many things before she leaves.
Yeah.
Is she on antidepressants?
I don't think so. No, she's not. Hey, Bailey.
So it's not that you're depressed. It's that you are obsessive compulsive.
They do come sort of hand in hand. So I would definitely have times through the year where it was sort of cyclical, up and down, where there was
What's depression look like?
My gosh, we could just be here all day on this.
Rainstorm in your head all the time.
You know what it is? It's the feeling that I can be happy. I can be happy. I can be motivated, but I just can't. It's almost like an actual weight that sits on you that prevents you.
Huh.
It really is not for lack of trying or for wanting. And it's just this overwhelming feeling that I'm not good enough. I can't do anything right. Nothing's going my way. I want to be motivated, but I can't be motivated. It's really tough because when you
see the picture of what you want to be and you have this expectation for yourself, and you just can't get from A to B, and that makes you more sad and brings you down further and more of a demotivator, and
it's totally a hole. And I think when people see it from the outside, they just say, just be happy. Why can't you just do this, or just get up and go for a walk every day?
Yeah, I've been guilty of doing that to people.
You want to just say, you want to shake them and just say, stop it. But the thing is it's sort of, it's self-fulfilling and it's perpetual and it keeps you in it. And it feels like you're stuck and you're trapped. And so I was definitely dealing with a lot of that. I approached my parents about it. I told them I was struggling. They were very supportive. They said, let's, take you to your doctor, see what they want to do, talk to somebody. At the time, my doctor said, great, we're going to put you on Paxil. You can't even put a kid under 18 on that shit anymore.
Yeah.
I was 15, but this is a different time, right? So, all right, we're going to put you on this, and we're going to send you to a therapist.
When she says it's a different time, people, just so you know, we're looking at someone, if you can't see her, she's very young. And medicine moves very, very quickly. I heard that the average lifespan of a surgery is 7 years before they would never consider doing that surgery again.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you're not even 40, are you?
No.
How old? 33?
I'm 32.
Okay.
Not even close.
Yeah, it's crazy that we're talking about this Paxil thing like it's the old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a year older, and I remember being in high school, and I want to say that girls that weren't on birth control were in the minority.
Yeah.
I want to say every girl was on birth control.
Oh, yeah. Everybody had it.
Yeah.
By the way, you don't look like you're 40, but I know you have two kids that are...
Yeah.
Well, I'm 45 and I have babies. So I saw your kids, and I'm like, oh, she had them when she was 30.
Yeah, I know. I had mine young. I was 25 when I had Caden, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on Paxil. Does it work? Like, do you start popping these pills and you're like, oh,
I start popping these pills, and it doesn't work immediately. He said it was going to take a while, like at least a month to even start feeling anything. And I'm seeing the therapist at the same time, and he's giving me great, like, actual tactics to do for the things that are, to other people are silly, but are literally taking me time, or, I'm ruminating through these thoughts in my head over and over and over and over again. So he's giving me those tools. I'm on the medication. It's supposed to sort of meet in the middle and marry, right? So over the summer, I started putting on a lot of weight. I had a ton of
one of the side effects of Paxil, this like insatiable
hunger.
Appetite that you just so it's supposed to help with depression.
Oh my gosh.
And if you're depressed because you're overweight and you start taking Paxil, you start eating more.
It's a shit show.
Right.
And not only that,
do you have any athletic background at this time? Are you doing anything with movement?
I played basketball in 7th grade. Played basketball in 7th grade, but no, I was not an athlete. I never, when we did the mile for the presidential, what was it, the PE fitness, whatever it was,
fitness test.
They give you 4 spoons, right?
Yeah.
Every time you did a lap, you drop a spoon.
Yeah.
I would drop the 2 spoons at once because I didn't want to do a whole mile. So no, I was not athletic.
Do you know what I would do?
What?
I would let the kids lap me so I could come in with them.
There it is.
That's smart.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's smart.
Thank you. No one's ever actually given me a compliment for that, but I appreciate it. I'd fist bump you if you were closer.
Right here.
Okay.
I feel you. So no, I wasn't athletic. I grew up tall, thin, didn't really have an issue with my weight really until right around this time.
Okay.
Yeah, right around this time. So I also
when you say you put on a lot of weight, what are we talking about?
So 30 pounds in that summer, and then probably every year after that, it was like 10 to 20 pounds every year. So I went into...
Are you accepting of this?
No, not at all.
At the time, you're like, this is bullshit.
No, I'm not happy about it at all. So then, this is awesome. The medicine that you have to take for the medicine that you're taking.
Yep.
So then, you know, I'm like, Mom, I've got to lose some weight. Like, I'm really unhappy about this. So then I think it's a great idea to talk to my doctor about taking diet pills. So now I'm on a prescription for Adipex, which is like glorified speed.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, so that's got to be great for your anxiety.
Compounding pills.
Anxiety, depression, and OCD.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Cocktail of...
Supercharging the disorder.
Yeah.
Yes. So then I'll lose like 30 pounds and feel awesome. And then I know that I can't stay on them because my heart's about to pop out of my chest. I can't.
Do you start to abuse them?
No, because, and that's probably the reason why I don't drink caffeine now. It gets me way too peppy. I got enough of that.
Car rides with her at the time, driving back and forth from college to Louisiana, where
Shut the fuck
she
up.
wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah.
Had you said anything to her about her weight? She's 50 pounds more?
No, because you talked about did we ever see it or anything? I don't know if I ever, looking back at some of those pictures, I say to, when did we
say this all
happen?
the time.
I never saw that.
I never looked at you and thought you were chubby.
Yeah.
And you never looked at me and thought I was overweight.
Never.
But we go back now and we're like, oh my gosh. At the time, my eyes didn't see that. I didn't see that in you.
Yeah.
Like at all.
It's crazy what's happened to your bodies. It's nuts. Some of the recent pictures are just unbelievable.
So, yeah, I think that the diet pills, the Paxil, which by the way, coming off of it was a whole nother story.
How many years were you on Paxil?
So I was on Paxil for a couple years, and then what happens with these medications is that they stop working, and then you have to medication hop. So then I'm in college, and I'm working with another set of doctors and other therapists, and they're like, okay, we're going to try this. So then I was probably on Paxil for 3 or 4 years.
Probably about 3 years.
3 years, and then I tried another one, Effexor. And then you have to get off of the first ones before you get on the other ones. And it's like,
I would never doing drugs, but I would imagine it being something like that, because I remember when you stopped taking, and we were at something for my older brother Wes's wedding shower, something like that.
Yeah.
You were like on the couch, like shivering.
Yeah.
So this was like
withdrawals.
This was like day 2 of not taking the medicine or taking a reduced dose. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I had withdrawals.
Totally
and then
nuts.
I would get on something else, and that would work for a while. And then it's kind of working. Oh, well, let's couple it. Oh, that's my favorite. Let's just do a little superset of your medication here. We'll put another one in there and see if this one helps where the first one's kind of missing out. And so we just do this whole song and dance, and we did it. And I stayed on medication through my first pregnancy. I asked my doctor, I said, I really would like to get off of this. He said, I would not recommend that for you, given like your history and things. And
were you ever suicidal?
No.
And they still kept you on the meds through your pregnancy?
I remember though, that was a tough thing for you to.
Are you tripping on that at that point? You're like, hey man, you got my kid, you got to get off the drugs.
We're trusting the medical professionals at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my doctor at the time said studies are showing that this is perfectly fine. I've had lots of women have healthy babies. Well, that's fine, but what about their children in 10 years? What about their children,
Right.
knowing what we did now, know what we know now, obviously things would be different, but it's a choice that we made with the information we had at the time.
Right.
And we did not make it lightly.
Right.
At all. Because I remember being really...
Because you're type A and you researched the fuck out of it.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you Googled back and forth, up and down.
Yeah, like 17 tabs open. You know.
Oh, yeah. You're 15. You start your second journey with drugs. Your first journey is birth control.
Mm-hmm.
Your second journey is going to be Paxil.
Yes.
You stay on Paxil through high school, basically. Mm-hmm. Then you start as Paxil is not getting the effects you want, and you put on weight. It sounds like you put on 30, 20, 10, 60 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're approaching 200 pounds, I guess.
Yes.
And you're still with Travis.
Yes.
And he's gone away to college.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys basically are around each other so much, and you guys are so in love. You're blind to this, and you're also young.
Yeah.
So you can hold that extra weight really well when you're young. You're still young, and you start doing even more drugs to counteract the problems with the first set of drugs, whether it be the munchies or weight gain, or whether it be the first drugs aren't working. And when does the relationship evolve to, hey, let's get married? Or let's have kids? And which happens first, marriage or kids? You guys are married, right?
We are married, yes. Okay. We were always, I knew that I was going to marry him. Probably like when I met him, I knew I knew that I would marry him. I just had a feeling. And I've had a lot of very absolute truths in my life that I could feel. I knew that I would marry Travis. I knew when I was pregnant, before I had a confirmation of pregnancy with both of my children, and I knew that my first was a son, and I knew my second was a girl. So that was absolutely going to happen. It was going to happen whenever we had time after college. And as far as kids, I probably started getting a little bit of baby fever earlier than I would say most of my friends, right after college.
Did you guys talk about having kids before you got married?
I think we always said we wanted to have kids. We never put a number to it or a time, but we both were very much wanting to have them, for sure. Yeah.
Was there any concern about your upbringing and the struggles that you had, in your teenage years, that maybe I shouldn't have kids? Maybe like, oh fuck, I don't want to bring a kid into this world and have him deal with the shit I'm dealing with.
I never.
Or did you ever question her as a mom because of that?
No, I don't think I ever questioned that ability. I know that we've had talks now saying, oh geez, look, I can see this in Kaden, I can see this in Harper, and we got to do what we can to give them tools now to help them cope. Right. But other than that, beforehand, we never said, I never questioned your ability to be a mother. I always knew you were going to be a great mom, and you are. So
it was never a deterrent, but it was definitely on my mind. Like, this is something I could potentially pass down to them. Or, maybe if it's written in a genetic code, it's something I could pass down. Or even the way I raise them, they could get it by, nurture versus nature. They could get it that way in their environment. So I knew that whenever we made that decision, I'd have to be in a really good space, get this shit on lockdown, so I could, be
a good role model.
Do the best that I can.
That you gotta be.
Which I don't want to jump too far ahead. You're an amazing fucking role model. And somewhere later on, I'd like to ask you if you could give advice to a 15-year-old Dani. What would it be instead of meds and all these other things? But we'll get to that in a second. He finishes college, and then you decide you guys are going to get married. He comes back home to Louisiana.
So I went to Texas A&M as well. Okay. So when I graduated at St. Thomas More in 2004. I went to A&M, so now we're both at A&M together. He's a senior.
Is A&M the Aggies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Jonathan Haynes, who you met.
Awesome.
I saw an ATM, so I was like, I gotta follow.
He got a walk-on scholarship.
Wow.
To the football team there. And did you guys know Matt Mursky? That's College Station, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Matt Mursky. Do you guys know him?
No.
God, look at you! Just
look at him
dropping college stuff.
He's
a side I've never seen before.
He's an old and dear friend. I haven't talked to him in years, but
that's awesome.
One of the first projects I did with CrossFit was with him. He's in Every Second Counts, and he was a football player there and a hardcore CrossFitter, and he has a CrossFit gym there. Anyway,
awesome.
Okay, so you go away to Aggie Land.
Yeah, I go to Aggie Land, and we're together again. He's finishing up his last year in the Corps at A&M.
Do you move in together?
We can't because he has to live in the Corps dorms.
Okay,
and it's his last year in it. So I moved to an apartment by myself because at this point I don't think that I can share with a roommate because I've got a lot of issues, and I didn't know anybody. I literally knew one person.
That, though? Fuck, I have too many issues to live with someone?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to my parents about it, and I said, like, whatever we can afford financially. And they're like, what is best for you? Like, you're going away to College Station. I knew one person, that one. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any friends that went to A&M. Most people in Louisiana, at least most of our friends, stayed in Louisiana. They went to LSU, UL. The few that did go out of state, it was for like out of state sports scholarship. So the fact that I went to A&M just because I went to A&M was kind of weird.
Right. You went there because he was there.
Well, I always wanted to go to a Texas school, and a lot of my family are Aggies. So that was like a big dream of mine. I got a scholarship to Baylor, turned it down, wasn't going to Baylor. I got accepted to UT, got accepted to Texas Tech.
You got a scholarship you turned down, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'd beat my kid for that.
I could have gone to school for free in Louisiana. They would have paid me to go to school. But that wasn't what I wanted to do, and that's fine. And I would, it's the decision I made, and it's one I would make over and over and over again.
Sounds like it.
At the time, you also wanted architecture, which was, A&M architecture is second to none.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we're there. I have an apartment by myself. He's in the Corps. We spend the weekends together. And then after that year, after you're finished with the Corps, then we moved in together. Our parents...
And that was the first time living together?
Yeah.
Yeah, like formally. Our parents are best of friends, and they're very... I wouldn't want to say like new wave, but they understood like, you guys are going to get married. You guys should share a space. We could save money. They are obviously knew that, you're not married. So our grandparents didn't really love it, but our parents were cool with it.
How about these issues that Dani had? Were you familiar with them before you moved in with her?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You fully, okay. Yeah. So she talked to you about them, and you were like...
Well, talking earlier, not living with her, but spending so much time with her and seeing the ups and downs, living through it at the time with what I knew about everything. That was just my normal, because we've been together for so long.
I was also really good at hiding it to a certain extent.
Putting up a facade.
Like, yeah. He was one of the only people that I could just bare my soul to and just feel okay with that. But sometimes I felt like that was a burden to him. So I might have to kind of internalize some of it, right? But
it is too. It's not just that you feel that. When we do that to our loved ones, we are...
It's a burden.
We are burdening them. Yeah, yes. Totally, right?
And for me, it wasn't so much a problem that she had the issues. It was, what can I do to help? And there were some things that I just couldn't do, and that was more hard on me than anything else.
Right.
So, sitting there and watching her struggle through these things and trying to give her tools that, I fell for a long time. I fell in the trap. You just got to make the choice. You got to make the choice. Just stop doing A, B, or C. And it took me time to learn and grow and develop and understand that doesn't help. And in many cases, telling someone to just make the change and they can't do it they beat themselves up more because they feel inadequate. So they slip deeper into a depression because they can't do what people think is normal. Normal people can't do.
Did you marry your mom?
I hadn't really thought about that.
Well, think about it.
I'll have to think about that.
All right.
I'll have to think about that.
We'll ask you again in 30 minutes. Did you marry your dad?
No, I think...
Are you sure?
No, I think, both of our parents are just amazing. Like, my parents and Travis's parents. Look, my dad, my sister. Our family is just...
Which one are you?
This one right here.
Okay.
This is my sister, Jordan, Joe, my dad, Carl. My mom was probably taking the picture at the time. Look, we have remember Tamagotchis? Remember those?
I don't, but that's...
I remember those.
Hey.
That's not 1980s, but that's so 1980s. Louisiana in the 90s was probably stuck in the 80s.
Oh my God.
Right? You guys are like
ain't no lie.
You guys are a decade behind.
Yeah. Ain't no lie.
Look at that belt your dad's rocking.
That's a braided leather belt.
Yeah. I think I had one of those too. I think that was just that was the standard issue.
That's a rich looking belt right there.
I had one of those. I may still have it somewhere. So you don't think you married your dad?
No. In ways, I think
he wasn't a caring, nurturing,
gave
very much. A ton of attention like this.
No, very much so. Very much so. My dad with my mom and my dad with me and my sister growing up was a very caring, involved dad. There at every basketball game, any camp we ever did, #1 fan, praised us to the moon and back. There was never a lack of love or feeling good enough because our parents did a great job of making us feel that way. Yeah. And so did yours. I mean, your parents, that's why our parents are like best of friends because they take trips without us all the time.
What?
One time. Yeah.
Yes.
One time in college, we were driving somewhere. I called my dad to ask him a question and you called your mom. And somehow we were talking to each other independently, and then we heard like your dad in the background on my phone. I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're driving in the hill country, taking a trip.
Yeah, we're doing a hill country drive today. I'm like, okay.
They went to California together without us on a trip.
They must be so happy that you guys gave them grandkids. Holy shit!
I know.
That's the first grandkids on both sides also. Wow. So Kate and our son
He was the first.
Our first Christmas, we had to take a break through presents because he needed to take a nap.
Yeah.
It was
like 6 hours
of present opening.
Of gifts. Yeah.
You move in together. You move in together. Now you're 80 pounds, 100 pounds at this point?
Now I'm like, I probably
like moving is difficult for you at this point.
It was getting to where I was noticing it. Like I'm having to buy new clothes all the time. This isn't like, oh, I'm just kind of getting a little chubby here. This is like, okay, now I'm pushing like size 12, size 14, size 16.
I remember my last year in the Corps, we football game and the band. We won the game. We did our after game stuff, and walking back from Victory Yell to the dorm, we had to. It wasn't that far. I don't know, a 5-minute walk, but we had to stop and take a break.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah. You're right. I mean, I kind of put all that stuff out of my memory. Yeah, you're right.
How old were you then?
You were probably 18-ish.
18 or 19.
Just a walk, you had to take a break.
Yeah.
I had this girlfriend my senior year. Sorry, this is such a digression.
I love these stories going.
This is good.
My senior year in high school, I went to Mexico to my senior trip. I graduated. And I met I was 18. And I met this woman there who's 23 from Louisiana, Kentucky. Is Louisiana border with Kentucky at the top? No. Kentucky. Sorry, it was Kentucky. What's Kentucky border with in the north? Ohio.
Yeah.
That's where it was. She lived there, around there.
Nice save.
Anyway, she was a size 12, and she was. Man, it was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. I just wanted to
It was amazing.
Yeah, there's no problem with size 12. It was crazy.
No. Yeah.
Nuts.
There's a lot of curves.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about size 16, but size 12 was crazy.
Size 12 was good.
Yeah, I told my dad I was in love with her, and he explained to me that wasn't love. I was really pissed. Anyway, sorry. I digress. So you're at this time you're 19 years old.
Yeah.
You've been in college a year.
Yeah.
You and Travis tell me the story again. You're walking back from where, and you have to take a break.
So when
are you 100 pounds overweight at this time?
No, not at this time. I'm probably like 200-ish.
About 80, 90 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've been overweight for a while now.
Yeah, I've been overweight for a while.
Are you strong?
No.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't think so.
I mean, you carried your weight around, but
I mean,
best you could.
I carried my fat ass around, yeah.
And you never said anything to her?
No, because, I mean, we never really...
So maybe at this point I'm like 180, 190.
Yeah.
I think. And actually what happened was that freshman year, I remember actually losing a little bit of weight because... I was in college. I was missing my family, so I wasn't eating as much. I was very homesick. I loved it there, but, I grew up in Louisiana, and I moved to Texas, and I don't know anybody. I'm very friendly, so I made friends. But I'm also like struggling with the depression, the OCD, and having to be like a really good student, make good grades. So I actually did lose a little bit of weight just for the fact that I wasn't eating that much. And then we start eating out a lot.
Yeah.
And we start drinking a lot.
I mean,
you're supposed to
why?
19.
Yeah, what was the catalyst for that? Just
to drink?
Yeah, I mean, you said all of a sudden.
Well, I wouldn't say all of a sudden. I'd say that year that I was still in the Corps.
Yeah.
We weren't always together, and the evenings and stuff. It was,
right.
You know, Saturday nights was probably our time, and growing up in high school and everything, that was just a part of the Southern culture. Was
right.
I mean, you can get a drive-through like daiquiri.
Oh yeah,
in Louisiana.
Hell
right?
yeah, you can.
Yes,
yeah,
you can.
That's the one thing I really remember there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So don't put the straw in if you're driving.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. So I think the drinking piece was always there as we grew up, because that's what you did.
Yeah,
in high school.
mean, like we grew up. I mean, yeah, underage drinking, whatever you want to call it. But I drank daiquiris growing up. I was 15, 16. That's not uncommon.
Right.
You know, it's not like your parents are just like handing you a bourbon or whatever, but you drink and it's not a big deal. And we were with our family and with our friends.
Eric, nice.
Look at this one over here.
I just want to say, Dani, that's a little early, but it's okay.
Started young
No
here.
judgment. You're in the
That's call bullshit.
Yeah.
You're just looking for one.
I mean, for the record, none of those are open.
Right.
Yeah.
True. Hey, this is actually in Fountain Valley, California, which is where I'm from. That's where I was born. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that why you don't have an accent?
I would say I don't have an accent because my parents are from Texas originally. Then they moved out to California in the 80s. They had me. Then we moved back to Louisiana.
Do they have a twang?
They sound like Texans.
Okay.
And I think like videos of me as a kid. Yeah, it's there.
Did you ever have one?
No. People, when I was in college, all my buddies were always, you're not from Louisiana. There's no way.
Yeah. I don't know. Why do we not have that?
I don't know.
Yeah, Fountain Valley. I grew up. I mean, I was born maybe an hour away.
Really?
Let's say I was born in Whittier.
Okay, cool.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. I was born in Fountain Valley. My parents had a trailer in Garden Grove.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Old Garbage Grove.
Garbage Grove. That's right.
Oh man, you know that term?
Yeah.
It was in a Sublime song.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was named an album.
So you're drinking. You're
we're just doing a typical
college. You're doing college.
And everybody else puts on a freshman 20 or whatever it is, and like I'm already gaining weight. I'm already on this medication, so my freshman 20 was like a lot more than that, obviously.
Yeah, and amplified by the fact that you're on multiple meds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're eating out, we're drinking with friends on the weekend. I didn't like going to bars and doing that scene. If we were going to drink, we're going to do it like we did at home. We're going to drink at home, make some food, and have people over and drink at home. So we're doing that.
Did the world treat you any differently now that you were clearly so severely overweight? Like, did you notice that? Were you like, oh shit, that person's treating me like that because I'm fat?
I would say that at the time that I was very, very heavy, at my very heaviest, I did feel a little different. I got like, you don't want to say like you got looks. I mean, it wasn't like I was 400 pounds or whatever, but you get looks. And I had to shop at Lane Bryant, which is where it's like a plus ladies clothing store, which I'm glad that things like that are available. But Travis would come with me to shop. It almost makes me a little emotional. I mean, he would come in with me and like help me pick out my outfits and make me feel like the most beautiful person on the world. And I was just pissed off that I had to be shopping there in the first place.
You were pissed off?
Yeah.
At yourself?
Yeah.
And how old are you at this point?
Like 21.
Oh shit, so young. Is there any hope for you in your mind at that age? Are you like, I'm at 22, I'm gonna start this? No.
I tried so many different things. Travis and I tried literally every flippin' diet. We tried the South Beach diet. We tried Ally, which are some pills that say that there's like a little disclaimer on the thing that says you can have like anal leakage when you take it or some crap.
Yeah, you're not going to want that.
Yeah. So we did that. Yeah.
I wonder if I do anything that can cause anal leakage. I want to stop that.
It's got a warning label on it.
I want to stop that.
Yeah. We did that. We did South Beach diet. I mean, we did it. We did it all. I would go to the rec center at A&M and do cardio and this, that, and the other. I would stay up late because another issue with the depression, whatever else, was I had really bad insomnia. Was never a great sleeper. So I'd stay up late and watch all these infomercials of all these different things to lose weight.
Oh, is that why they're on so late?
I don't know.
Maybe.
But I'd watch them and feel like very like pumped, like, okay, this is the next thing. This will help us.
This is what's good.
Yeah.
This is what's gonna take us to the next level.
Yeah. When Travis wakes up in the morning, I'm gonna tell him about this thing that I saw on TV, and we're gonna do this, and this is gonna be the thing. This is gonna be it.
Yeah.
Is your hair naturally red? I mean, I know it's colored now, but like, do you have red hair?
I actually have like an auburn brown hair, but I have some redheads in my family, and I'm like freckly. And
you're crazy fair skinned.
Yes.
I mean, you have like yeah.
I feel like we're very similar.
Like you should be on a Dove commercial or something.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you should be on a Dove commercial. You know what I mean?
That's sweet.
Like, yeah. That was my wife back there, my kid.
Oh.
Yeah, she has like what I would call auburn hair.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it? Yeah, auburn hair. When he graduates from school, he doesn't. Travis, you don't leave A&M. You stick around and wait for her to graduate.
So she finishes.
Did you graduate?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks.
Makes one of us.
Of course she did. I never doubt that.
So she actually finished up on time. I took an extra victory lap
early.
Yeah, I took a lap and a half.
You gotta make sure you get your money's worth.
Yeah, you know,
I took many a lap. Many.
But you have degree in engineering and a math minor. I mean,
so you're smart.
It wasn't.
It's not like you got it in psychology. Wait, what did you get it in?
Management.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Communications.
Yeah. So
sociology.
So ultimately, because of my victory lap,
save the YouTube comments. I don't want to hear shit.
Yeah.
You guys go fuck yourself.
And her finishing up early. My first job was down in Houston, and I just did a 80-mile commute each way.
Yeah.
For that 10 or 12 months, whatever it was, till she finished. And then
every day. 80 miles each way.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if there's one thing that one word that I could paraphrase about Travis, it's like commitment
to you. Dedication.
Yeah.
Hopelessly devoted.
Yes.
Hopelessly. Why do you throw that in there?
I don't think it carries a negative connotation.
It totally does.
No, I think you're assuming that it does.
Hopeless? Use hopeless in a positive way for me.
No, I mean if you're hopeless, it means you'll never change, right? And he's devoted.
Yeah. Let's talk about this later. Tomorrow morning at breakfast.
Word dissection would be in the segment.
Yeah.
How to treat the guests dissection.
Yeah.
I didn't take it negatively.
No, not at all.
I totally got it. So,
commuted because we'd bought a house in Bryan because it was actually cheaper.
How did you afford that?
That was when you could buy a house and not put anything down.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, roll it all together, and so our monthly payment was.
It was lower than rent, so we were like thinking financially, like, oh man, this makes sense. Let's do this. So we bought a house.
You're still not married.
We got married like several months after we bought the house, right?
No, we got. Yeah.
So it happened all around that same time.
So sorry, I lost a little bit. So. You're in your last year of college. Yeah. He's commuting 80 miles for a job. You graduate from college. You are 23.
Yeah, something like that.
You buy a house shortly after you graduate from college?
No, we bought the house while I was still in college.
Okay, so
my senior year.
Oh, and are you working?
Yes, I work part-time.
Where at?
Makeup.
Selling makeup.
Yeah, doing makeup.
But you are, from your Instagram, I noticed you are a skin person.
Yeah,
You're pretty au naturel, but you are definitely like skin, right? You say something about I encourage everyone to wear a little bit of suntan lotion every single day.
Yes. Yeah. Gotta be nice to that skin.
Danielle's got it quite the ride. So she finished at A&M and management, and then decided that's not really where I want to.
Well, I went and got a degree in management because I'm a very creative person, like incredibly creative. So I wanted to have my own business, and I thought that business was like a salon. I wanted to like have a salon, run a salon. So a month after I'd graduated from A&M, I went to cosmetology school, and I got a license to be a professional cosmetologist, to do hair, makeup, all that. Halfway through school, I realized I can't be around these women like this all the time. Like I love the work. I just don't necessarily love this whole environment. Maybe it's just not for me.
What do you think about, licensure?
What do I think about it?
Yeah, like the fact that like to cut hair, I have to go to school and be told by someone else what the fuck is right and what the fuck is wrong.
I think it's pretty necessary.
You do?
I do.
Why is that?
I guess we bring up a good point. I guess anybody could cut hair and sell the service and make it good without needing to have a license. But I think to keep, I would say to keep the level that you're getting at least at a minimum standard.
By the level, you mean like hygiene?
Hygiene and the quality of what you're getting. You know what I mean?
Kind of, but I see people paying a lot of money for these haircuts that are fucking like crazy.
That are crap, yeah.
Yeah.
There are some pretty off the wall people doing haircuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I say it. I bring this up because people are trying to put licensure on fitness professionals.
Interesting.
Which we really now know are health professionals.
Right.
And for anyone to come in and think that they can tell CrossFit what to do is completely insane, because the people who are at the throne in the government think that you shouldn't squat below parallel. They think that you should be eating it's okay to eat cookies in the morning and cereal for breakfast, and they want you to drink as much milk as you can and feed that shit to your kids. I mean, it's insanity.
Oh, absolutely, it's insanity.
And I guess I get concerned that licensure is a racket. Recently, this woman, I can't remember her name, we put her on the CrossFit Instagram. You can go back and look at it. And she's talking about the importance of licensure for the fitness industry.
She's not very fit. Yeah.
Not only is she not fit, I'm even okay with someone who smokes cigarettes telling me not to smoke.
Yeah.
Because like they know.
Right.
But like, don't be saying asinine shit when I go back to your website and like you think I'm going to exercise off of Coca-Cola.
Right.
You're not exercising off of Coca-Cola.
Right. Yeah. You bring up a good point. I actually never thought about it that way.
Anyways, the only thing I can think of I think that money, capitalism, people voting with their dollar will get. You're looking at my nail. Sorry.
No.
Oh, good. Okay. People may be paranoid about it. I saw you looking over here.
The internet's looking at it now.
Now I can't stop looking.
Change cameras, Eric. Change cameras.
Fuck me. Where was I?
You had a good thought.
So licensure. If people are getting good haircuts, I think they'll go to them.
Yeah, I agree with you.
By word of mouth.
Yeah.
But the hygiene thing seems kind of important, because like I want to make sure my person's like following like cleaning the comb protocol, and you know how they dip it in that water that you think is like something besides water or whatever.
The barbicide.
Yeah, barbicide.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go to cosmetology school, but you can't do it because.
No, I finished it. I got my license.
But I mean, the practice with being that close to other people.
Yeah. Well, no, it was really it just wasn't what I expected. I just didn't get the warm and fuzzies. Okay. I'm talented and I love doing it, and I do it freelance.
Okay.
On my own time. So, I love that. But the whole goal was to like have this salon and maybe have several of them, and that just never panned out, and that's okay because it just didn't feel right.
How much does it cost to go to cosmetology school?
It cost me like $20,000.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That's no joke.
Yeah.
And how in 1 year?
It was 1,500 physical hours, so it took me about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you have your degree in management from Texas A&M?
I do.
You have your cosmetology certificate?
Yeah, I have a license.
And you guys own a house?
We own a house. Yeah, we have a house. And shortly after...
And you had a wedding?
We had a wedding. We had a wonderful, beautiful wedding. And then we had our son, I guess... We got married in 2007.
And you're at 2007?
When was it?
2007.
Yeah.
And then at this point, you're your maximum weight.
I was at my maximum weight in 2008.
Okay.
So that was like a year after we got married. My maximum weight, and it could have been higher, but the last time I'd stepped on the scale was 245.
And when you shopped for your wedding dress, was that also emotional and depressing?
Yes.
Because of the weight?
Yes.
And did he go with you for that?
No, because I didn't want him to see my wedding dress. But my mom and my mother-in-law, Mary, went with me, and my sister, Jordan. And it was a great time. But absolutely, the concerns about the weight and the way my body looked was definitely something in the back of my mind, and something I still remember now, for sure.
Go ahead, Travis.
I was going to say, in that time, you also started seeing a personal trainer to try to get fit,
yeah,
and get wedding dress ready.
Yeah,
I remember that, and that was 12-ish weeks.
I did 12 weeks. Like yeah.
Tell me about that. What happened? You're like, I'm gonna get married. I need to get in shape.
Yeah, like we need to tighten this up a little bit.
And that's what you look like, this picture on the left at that time?
So this is what I looked like about a year after I got married. Okay. So I wasn't this heavy when I got married.
Okay.
But I was probably right about 200 when I got married, because I lost about 20 pounds with the trainer. And this is me at 2:45.
Your video is the one that Elliot Lindsay made is so fucking inspiring. My wife and I watched it for the second time last night together.
Wow.
Yeah, it is like, it's amazing. But when I pulled this picture up and showed my wife, she's like, I don't even recognize her. And I'm like,
you look like a different person.
Completely different person.
We laugh about this.
Yeah,
often.
a lot of people say that. I mean, you still see my eyes and everything, but
I see the same shitty flash.
Yeah, shitty flash.
But I don't recognize.
But you know what's funny is that the fact that you said that you don't look like the same person, I felt when I was this heavy, I didn't feel like me. I felt like I was in somebody else's body. When I looked at myself, you know, let's say we were in a mall and you catch that little reflection of yourself off the glass, I would look and be like, that can't be me. How is that me? I felt like I was wearing a fat suit. Anytime I would sit in my car and put my seatbelt on, I remember how far I'd have to stretch it over just to get it to clip. Yeah. And I remember every time, how many times do you do that a day? Every time I did it, it was like a little jab, like, look at you. Like, this is who you are now. You have to stretch it this far just to get your seatbelt on. Or the way like my clothes felt or pressed up against things, or how I might not fit the way I wanted to fit in my desk at school, or just little things. I think people don't really think about that. But I thought about it and I felt it all the time.
I think people even 20 pounds overweight think that.
Oh my gosh, yes. Right? You can feel it. Yeah.
Like your pants are cutting into, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have had 3 hamburgers last night.
Yeah, I feel that little roll a little bit. Absolutely. And it's interesting that, you know, now people say, oh, well, how do you feel now that you've done it, or your journey's at the end? And it's so funny is because I haven't done it. I haven't finished anything. And to be honest with you, losing all this weight has uncovered a ton of mental shit that I now have to get through. Like, the work is not even close to being done. Losing the weight was not a problem. What I'm dealing with now, being mentally strong, and like what you said about how, 20 pounds, I'm feeling this little thing here and there, that has become so amplified to me now that it's become, now my journey is to be okay with not needing to be the leanest mofo in the room. You know, you don't need to be that lean, or you don't need to be this number.
My wife actually asked me at the end of the video, do you think she's too thin?
You want to know what?
And I looked at the video and I'm like, I don't know. But it's funny that my wife just picked right up on that.
And I was. And I'll be really honest with you. And it's something that I've wanted to share with people for a while and haven't necessarily been very ready to do so. But last year, I'm very into nutrition. I love learning everything that I can about it. I'm currently getting a certification in it right now. But I use my body as an experiment. And last year, my experiment was to literally lose a little bit of body weight, but really just to get a little stronger. But what it ended up being was the complete opposite. And it has taught me so much about my body physically and mentally, and how being the leanest I ever was has also been one of the most unhappy that I've been in a long time.
Interesting.
And so since that video has been out, my goal has been to put on some quality weight.
And I saw that in the Instagram thing. I saw that in your clip.
Yeah.
There were like four goals. Can we see her Instagram, one of her more recent ones? And one of them was, I don't know if it's goals or things that you would accomplish.
Yeah, it's a video I put up recently.
One of them was put on weight and had the little blue arrows next to it. Scroll down a little bit. Maybe it's
this one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Can I see the writing? Okay. Increased body weight, clearer cognitive function, decreased anxiety, better sleep. Those are all things you've touched on here.
Yep. I'm almost 5'10". I don't have any business being 125 pounds.
Right.
I just don't.
Right. My wife is 5'4", and I want to say she's 138 pounds.
Yeah.
Hardcore CrossFitter.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like stomach muscles and shit.
Yeah. I think that what I struggle with as far as body image now is a lot of what's left over after having had such a big transformation. So we talk about this a lot. I gauge my progress based solely off of my stomach, because it is probably the part of my body that I hate the most.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's uncommon.
Yeah,
I think
I was going to say
do that.
hashtag me too.
Yeah. So
did I use that right?
Yeah. I see, I see Travis has, lost a ton of weight, and he has like 15 abs.
He has a
16 abs.
Yeah, he has kind of a
there was a picture
body.
there of him making green beans or something. It looked like he was doing the laundry.
Right? Yeah. So, exactly. So, I
feel like that about my wife too. God, I hope my kids get your body. God, I hope my kids get your body.
Yes, exactly. So, posting things like this is so hard. Being in a bathing suit in general just sucks. Like, I am the least confident. I put an air of confidence on, but it's forced. Fake it till you make it. This is really tough, and this is stuff that I do to push myself out of a comfort zone, because if I want to tell my daughter, you need to be happy in the skin you're in, you need to be happy with every pound that is on that scale and what your body can do, but inside I am not practicing that, what kind of message does that send her? Kids are not stupid.
Right.
They see what you do.
Right.
They hear what you say, but they see what you do.
Right.
And if I think that I can hide this from her, I'm wrong.
Right.
She knows. And she's going to know the older she gets that mom isn't that comfortable with her body, but she tells me to be comfortable with her body, my body.
Right.
So yeah, there's extra skin all over the place, here and there and everywhere.
Fake it till you make it for your kids.
But who the fuck cares?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
especially once you have kids and you have this guy.
Exactly.
Right? Like what? Like I get it. I'm not ignorant. I there's a mating protocol going on the planet.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're circling the sun, trying to mate. But you would think that once you scored that mate, that you would focus on what best you can do for your body for your mate and to inspire your mate. And God, there's very few people who can say they've done it as good as you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, holy shit. When I wake up in the morning, I know you guys look so beautiful there. When I wake up in the morning, I'll say to my wife, not every morning, just 4 to 7. Do I look chubby in this? Do I look okay in this?
Yeah.
Do I? And when you're 100 pounds overweight, do you even bother saying that?
You do.
You do.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Okay. Yeah. And you know what? I still ask those questions. And people are like, what? You have nothing. Oh my gosh. And that's what I was saying earlier is that's almost gotten worse.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's something that I'm in thick of dealing with right now. And I could either be upset about it or just consider it a challenge, because this is a lifelong journey. This is just one leg of it. So that's fine. This is what we're doing right now.
You said earlier that losing the weight wasn't that hard, but the process and moving through it was hard. You worked hard. Don't discredit yourself.
Yeah, but looking back on it, it's what's under the hood, the mental stuff. That's the hard part.
New piece. Yeah.
Did you listen to the Kai? I think her last name is Remy podcast. Rainey. What's
I say Rainey, but I don't know if that's
Rainey?
right.
No, I haven't.
So we had a lady in here lost, I want to say 100 and
it was over 100 pounds.
Crazy like you, crazy amount of weight. I don't know if it was 100 or 200, but it was a shit ton.
Yeah.
And I apologize to her because she was amazing. She deserves to get credit for every pound she lost. She said it's harder to be overweight than it is to do the worst CrossFit workouts in the world. And that's why she thinks like, holy shit, she wants everyone to hear this who's overweight.
Yes.
Just get into the fucking gym. It only gets easier.
Oh gosh, I would totally agree with her.
Yeah.
There she is. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Oh, look at her. Go, girl.
And
good job.
She is a there she is down below, right?
Yeah,
she's
she looks great.
she's a beacon of light now, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There she is.
Wow.
Awesome.
And her husband took the journey with her too. Now her husband I don't think her husband was 60 pounds, but he's probably like 40 pounds overweight, I think, when they started.
Yeah. She's so right. I would agree with her. I think that's why I just took to CrossFit so well, was because it was intense. It spoke my language. It spoke to me as a person. And at the end of the day, none of it was ever as tough as what I'd done before. So I knew that I could do it. I knew I could handle it. Right.
Right.
So absolutely. She's spot on for sure.
So we're gonna go back to, so you get married and then you're still not doing any. You did that 12-week program.
I did. I worked with a trainer. Yeah.
So what was that, and why didn't you stick with it?
I worked with a personal trainer, and it was
not CrossFit.
No, okay. I didn't even know what CrossFit was at the time at all. No, it was like typical. Let's do some cardio, and then we're gonna lift some weights. We didn't really talk about nutrition much at all. Our nutrition, we tried. Remember the cookbook? We still have it.
Oh yeah, the 15-minute 5-ingredient.
15-minute 5-ingredient cookbook. We're like, okay, we're gonna try. We're gonna really try and like clean up our diet a little bit, and we're gonna try not to eat out as much.
This is prior to the wedding.
Yeah, prior to the wedding. I think I lost about 20 pounds. Why did I not stick with the trainer?
Was it a male or female?
It was a male, and he was great. I still remember him. He was a super fun guy. He used to be like an ex-bodybuilder guy, so we did like typical, bodybuilding stuff.
Mm-hmm. Would you drink a Coke when you were done working out?
No, but I'd probably go get like a Propel water and feel really like healthy and shit.
Okay. Great California accent you just threw in there, by the way.
Yeah. But you know what? It was fun, but it wasn't like really fun. It never, I don't know, it wasn't really that exciting. That's why I didn't stick with it. It wasn't that engaging. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think I'd lost 20 pounds. And when we got married, I was like.
And it wasn't cheap.
No, it wasn't cheap at all. When we got married, I was proud of what I had lost. And I think at that point I was like, yeah, maybe I could lose a little bit. But I'd always said, I don't think I'd ever be smaller than a size 12. How many times did I say that?
More than.
Oh, my frame is just not that way. I had already set in my mind that, I'm going to be like this. So this is fine.
Gary Roberts, guy who works with us, lost like 60 or 70 pounds. Yeah. And the whole time growing up when he was overweight, his family would tell him, oh, we're just big bone.
Yeah.
The Roberts are big
Same
bone.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Same thing. So I just never.
By the way, you look beautiful in your wedding picture.
Oh,
I thought.
Thank you.
Yeah. Albeit heavy. Do you have that up in your house?
We have one where you're sitting.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
And do your kids look at that and be like, do they comment on it? Mama, you were big.
You know what? Sometimes they see pictures of us when we were big, or my biggest picture, and they say, who is that?
Yeah. When he recognizes.
Who's that with both of you, or who's that with Daddy?
Is when we watched the CrossFit video for the first time.
Yes.
When we sat on the couch and watched it with the kids, they both said, who is that?
Who were we watching?
When they saw the footage of our old pictures.
Yeah.
They were like, who is that? Because Harper Jo will not remember me being heavy. No. I started losing the weight when she was about a year. Caden, I think he was too young.
Yeah.
He was just too young to know it.
I asked Kai, you should, I don't mean to float my own boat. It's an awesome interview. But what I asked her, did you think you influenced your kids?
Yeah.
And I could tell that was heavy for her.
Yeah.
Because she didn't catch it as quickly as you did.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
That was a huge driver for us. And, even our son Caden last week said, what was he eating on his plate? And he said, oh, Mom, look how colorful my plate is.
He was eating some broccoli and salmon.
And we just look at each other and just smile because
that's
our
journey
won.
now.
Yeah, that's the winning right there.
That's what it's about for us.
That's the feedback you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're married.
Yeah.
And how you guys decide, hey, we're ready to have kids? What birth control were you using at the time?
A combination pill. So it's like a combo, probably estrogen, progesterone pill. I was taking it continuously too. Yeah. Because I never wanted to be bothered with a period. So I never would take like that week off.
From when you were 15 to...
So when I was 16, so I started at 14, and I think around 16, he was like, oh... you can start taking it continuously.
This is your doctor.
New research.
Yeah, new research says that you don't need to take that last week where it would force you to bleed, whatever. And I said, oh, okay. So I would just continually take the hormones. I've
been with my wife for
years,
for 20 years, and she was on the pill once for a month. No can do. Yeah. Yeah, they try after spin her brain up in a way that's like I didn't even recognize her. She immediately got off. I'm like, "What's up? You getting off?" She's like, "Oh, this is fucked."
Yeah. So and
I know it's different for everyone, by the way. I'm not saying it's like that for everyone.
No, but that's pretty common across the board.
It happened more with you with the the implant,
the Mirena. After we had Harper Joe, it was like, oh, we could try this implant. And I said, I can't do birth control. We found out that
you look like Russian there. You don't even look like you. You know what I mean? You look like some like
hey, what are you trying to say about Russians?
Polish or Russian. Like, I mean, you look like an immigrant there.
I look like an immigrant.
Yeah, you don't look like, you know what I mean? I mean, you look like. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, when we had decided to get off of birth control, I was having some serious medical issues with it, which are very, very rare.
I completely forgot about that.
Yep, it was very, very scary. I was having like major pain.
When you got off the pill?
No, before.
Okay.
I was having like some serious problems with it.
Okay.
And I didn't know what was wrong.
We saw several doctors.
I saw several doctors in College Station. They said, we don't know what's wrong. You need to go to MD Anderson. You need to see an oncologist.
That's like the cancer.
That's scary.
A gynecological oncologist.
Yeah.
They need to take biopsies. We don't know what this is. We did the biopsy. All that was normal. They still couldn't figure it out. And you know what? My 18 tabs open on my Google Chrome found what it was. I took myself off of birth control. 3 weeks later, didn't have the pain.
Where was the pain?
So it was
your uterus, like.
Yes, it was. Is this going to be a TMI? Is this going to be okay?
No, it's totally fine.
Okay. So
this is the unsafe zone.
Okay, all right.
Barely scratching the surface.
We'll just go into it. So after we got married, I was like, I'm going to get off of birth control, or we're not going to use protection.
You couldn't breastfeeding. You couldn't take certain birth control, so that's where it kind of started uncovering itself, right?
Well, this was like before we'd had any
that's
kids
right.
at
That's
all.
right.
Yeah.
Don't jump ahead, Travis.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Timeline, bro.
This story is linear.
Timeline. Yeah. So I would say that after we got married, being the type A that I am, we were on birth control. We also used protection because I was not getting pregnant.
Condoms.
Yes.
Yeah. Birth control and condoms.
Yes.
That's hardcore.
Because I was not getting pregnant before I wanted to get pregnant.
Because she wasn't having a period, so we never really knew.
Yeah, because I wasn't having a period.
Had you been using condoms your whole life?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Kudos to you. I'm a condom rock star.
What does that even mean?
That means like when people say like, oh, I can't stand condoms, or how can you get them on, or I don't just.
And you're trying to say that you thrive in that environment.
Whatever. Yeah.
He's like, I don't have a problem with that.
And that thank you.
Yeah.
I'm in a vagina-rich environment. I flourish.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, I flourish.
Yeah. So we were doing that, and then after we got married, I was like, yeah, well, we could probably do without the condoms, and that'll be our little thing for after we got married. I'll still be on the pill.
Right.
And then shortly, like literally a month after we got married, after sex, it would hurt so bad. I mean, it felt like fire. Very, very, very bad.
Did you have him check for venereal diseases?
No, I mean
that was part of the protocol and trying to understand.
Yeah, I mean,
I hear fire and I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, it was just not. It was awful. So when we go in, he does an exam and he says, "Well, your cervix, his words, quote unquote, looks like ground meat. Your cervix looks like ground meat." Well, what does that mean? What is it supposed to look like?
I'm pretty sure that's a doctor talk.
Yeah.
Saying,
I'm not an oncologist, so that doesn't sound good.
Ground.
So apparently it's not supposed to look like that. He said it's incredibly inflamed. We've got to figure out why. I can't, for the life of me, figure out why with the tools and knowledge I have. You need to go to MD Anderson.
Okay.
So my senior year of college, I'm dealing with going back and forth to going to MD Anderson and trying to finish up my studies, being stressed out about that. Don't know if I have cancer, what the hell I have.
Are you on some sort of antidepressant at this time too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, for sure. So he does biopsy. All that comes out back normal. I'm still having pain. This is after we got married, right? It's supposed to be good. It's not good. So that is really mentally tough too, because that's supposed to be an amazing safe space in your relationship, and it's painful.
Right.
It's not at all. And it's no one's fault. We can't figure out what's wrong. So I don't do a ton of research. I start pulling up, all right, let's be a detective. Okay, birth control, pain after sex, and whatever else. And I start seeing some common threads across my 18 tabs that I have open. And I start seeing cervical ectropion over and over and over and over again. And it's an inflammation of the cervix that happens as a very rare side effect of birth control, and it typically happens in younger children or younger like adults that are on it. are like much older. Whatever reason, I didn't really fit inside a typical description, but we all know that's all bullshit because it's a bell curve anyway. There's going to be somebody here and somebody there. So I thought, all right, well, let's just get off of it. And, you know, we'd been talking about maybe having children at this time anyway. And I said, I need to get off of it. And the only way to know if this works is if I get off the birth control and we have unprotected sex. So are you okay with the possibility of getting pregnant at this point? We talked about it a lot. We'd already been talking about children, so we were okay. So I got off of it, and several weeks later, it's fine.
But you're still not pregnant.
I'm not pregnant. No, but I don't have the issues anymore.
You get off the pill, and so you're then now the only medication you're taking is antidepressants.
Yes.
And you're still 200 and some odd pounds.
And we're having unprotected sex for a year, and I'm still not pregnant. And at this point, I'm really wanting to. We're ready.
We're ready.
And I don't know why I'm not. So it's like a year, 2, something like that.
How old are you at this point?
22, 23.
23.
Yeah, you should be getting pregnant if a penis just gets close.
Yeah, like across from the room.
Yeah.
With me.
Right.
And it wasn't. So I knew there was something wrong. So at that point, we'd sold our house in College Station or Bryan. We moved to Cypress, Texas.
Do you wish you would have kept the house?
No.
No?
To rent it out maybe?
Yeah.
I mean,
that actually might have been a nice
if we would have
stream
been
of
in a different place, probably would have been a great idea.
Yeah. And thinking about that now.
Everyone I always talk to about real estate there when they're like, and then I sold the house. I'm like, do you wish you wouldn't have? They're like, yeah, fuck, I should have kept it.
Yeah. It might have been a lot of trouble though over the time.
Where we were living, we could afford the mortgage for a reason. That neighborhood wasn't the nicest. Wasn't the best place.
But is it nice now?
It's okay.
I think it's
it was our first home. Yeah. It'll always be special to us.
And I think for college kids renting it probably would have been okay. But neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Don't rub
You didn't lose money on the house.
No.
We actually made money.
Some money.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
After owning it for 16 months.
Yeah, we made money.
That's crazy. At that young age, you guys already owned a home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we bought our home in Cypress, and
that's Texas.
Yeah, Cypress, Texas.
Where is that in Texas?
It's northwest of Houston by about 45 minutes.
Okay.
You can call it Houston. Most people do.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw a doctor there, and we went in together. I said, "Why am I not pregnant?" He said, "You probably don't ovulate because you probably have polycystic ovarian syndrome with type 2 diabetes." I said, "Well, what is polycystic ovarian syndrome?"
And had you ever thought that you might have type 2 diabetes before then?
No.
Were you fucking scared shitless?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Real scared. Oh. And I said, "How do you even know this? We haven't done blood work." He said, "I can just see from your body type," which you can see from my photos. I carried all my weight in my middle. I used to say I was like a little apple on toothpicks. I had little legs, but all my weight is in my trunk, right? Which is so typical for type 2 diabetics. They're not the pear shape, they're apple shape. They keep all their fat around their organs here. Their vital organs, your heart and things like that.
Is that genetic, or is it the kind of sugars you eat, the way you put on your weight? Or do we not know that?
I think that most people that I don't really know.
Okay.
But
either way, it's not good.
No, it's not good. Being overweight in general is not great, but especially when the weight is centralized over your heart, your lungs, that's always worse.
Yeah, I think that's the point, that the fat is concentrated around the organs.
Yeah, and it's called visceral fat.
Yeah, visceral fat. Yeah,
visceral fat.
You want it like in your ass.
Yeah, I'd rather have a fat ass than a fat stomach any day.
Yeah.
Got it. Check.
So
where was yours, Eric?
Stomach.
Wow.
He had a buffalo top and flamingo bottom.
You didn't have you didn't have a fat ass.
Nice.
Still working on it.
Still working on it. Still trying to make your ass bigger.
Same, bro.
Eric just ran a 10K, and you held a sub 7 mile, right?
Wow.
6:58.
That's
Congrats.
awesome.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. I went into REI in Berkeley, and this is 8 years ago, when my wife and I have been doing CrossFit for 2 years. And she comes out of the dressing room, and I'm like, she's like, what? I'm like, your butt looks small in that. And then the lady goes, oh yeah, it does. I'm like, no, that's not. We're not going for that here.
No.
We're CrossFitters.
We want big ass.
We want big butt.
Yeah.
And it was so funny at that point. I'm like, wow, I am fully been converted.
Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so the doctor is telling you have something going on with your what would you call it?
So this is with your like endocrine system, your reproductive system, and type 2 diabetes obviously has to do with your pancreas pushing out tons of insulin, things like that. So this is more than just, oh, like my uterus doesn't work or my ovaries are not working. This is full body.
Right. Tell me that you had
polycystic ovarian syndrome.
And when I hear that cystic, is there something growing on?
You know what? It's such a bullshit term because.
Great, thank you. No wonder I don't understand.
All right, let's do
it. Break it down.
It could be a topic for another day, but in a nutshell, what polycystic ovarian syndrome is, they give it that name because typically women that have it have cysts all over their ovaries.
Okay.
Like tons.
Okay.
Like at one point I had like 20 on one and like 15 on another. Little cysts.
And what is a cyst?
A cyst is like a fluid-filled sac that's covering whatever body part, but this happened to be on the ovaries. So just tiny little fluid-filled sacs.
And the ovaries are basically the woman's testicles. That's where your eggs are made.
Yes, that's where the eggs are made. And so if there's something not going on with that, and if you're not ovulating, I'm not even producing eggs to be fertile at all.
Okay.
So once I'd gotten off of birth control pill, I thought for sure like, oh, my cycles would regulate, but they were not. So I was going like 60 days between periods. I was just not even having any cycle at all. He said that's all very typical for polycystic ovarian syndrome. They call it PCOS, which is a condition where you do not ovulate. Your cycles are very lengthy, so like 40 days plus. You're not ovulating. When you do have a bleed, it's not indicative of having ovulated at all. That's the whole point.
Meaning there's no egg.
There's no egg. Yeah.
You have menses but no egg.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so it's just to add insult to injury,
right,
you can
mortgage payment without a house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then typically,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, like that. I agree with you. And then you, on top of that, you're usually having some sort of insulin resistance, which is pre-diabetes, which can then lead to type 2 diabetes. So it affects more than just your reproductive organs. So the test for that is to do a glucose test. We'll see where your hormones are. Typically, women that have PCOS have high androgens, so high testosterone. They may have a deeper voice or facial hair.
Were you doing steroids?
No, and I had none of that. I never had facial hair, never had a deep voice, never had any of those issues at all. They could deal with acne. They usually deal with lots of belly fat and an inability to lose weight. And I was thinking, oh, well, I've been putting on weight all these years, but I've also have all these other reasons why that could be. So we do an ultrasound. Yes, there are cysts all over my ovaries. We do the blood work. Yes, I'm pre-diabetic. At this point, he says, you are diabetic.
How old are you?
22.
22, 23, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking as these results come in?
Well, for me, it was, one, I don't know. I didn't have all the research that Dani had done. I didn't have the background. I didn't understand what everything meant. It was very much oh shit, what does that mean for her long term? What does it mean for us short term? Do we need to get to living wills, and where does that really take us? We're newly married.
So you're scared.
Things. Yeah, scared as hell. It's the kind of thing that at our age we shouldn't have to even consider thinking about.
Yeah, at 22, it's like, fuck, I know I have $1 around here somewhere so I can go get a beer.
Yeah. No, that was not my early 20s.
Not life or death shit.
No. Mm-mm.
So it was a very, very scary time.
That was not our time, no.
And, that with a move, a job that I've had for less than a year, trying to navigate the corporate world and what that means and dealing with all of that, it was
very stressful.
A lot.
It was super stressful.
When you get this, are you you're in his office when he actually says this, you have type 2 diabetes?
Yeah.
And do you tell anyone right away when you leave the hospital?
Yeah, I think I'd probably call my mom immediately.
And just start crying.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the car, remember?
Yeah. My mom is a type 2 diabetic. She's insulin dependent now, but she also has a lot of issues wrong with her pancreas that has led that. But, certainly some lifestyle issues too. But grandparents and aunts and uncles, and certainly on your side too. So, yeah. I'm telling you, it's like genetic cards were set up to be this way.
When you were growing up, did you think I'm going to beat this thing, or it's only a matter of time before I get it?
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
that was not even a word.
You're young.
I thought,
just living life.
Yeah, my grandfather has diabetes, and you know, he loves to eat his Bluebell ice cream, but he can only have the sugar-free version. I didn't really know what that meant.
Right.
I didn't know what that meant. What does diabetes mean in the way that we speak to our children now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, they ask me for a candy bar at the checkout at Target, and I tell them point blank, we don't eat things like that often because what does it lead to? Diabetes and things like that. That's how we speak to our kids.
And how hard is that saying no to your kids? It's like for people who don't have kids, explain to them how hard that is and why it's so hard.
Thank you in advance.
It's tough because they are like so good at constantly knocking down your defenses to where you might just want to be like, fuck, fine, have it. You have to always keep your walls up and keep your boundaries this way. And we speak to our kids logically. We do this because of this. We do X because of Y. They're old enough that they can understand those logic. But when they're young and you tell them no, I have a lot of people say, well, how do you feed them like that? Don't buy it.
You don't.
It's your choice
it.
to put it in the cart and bring it into the home.
You're the parent. You're the adult.
Eating cereal for breakfast is a learned behavior. Children do not come out of the womb and say, I want Cinnamon Toast Crunch for breakfast.
So it's a twofold thing. One, they beat you down by their relentless asking.
Right.
And two, there's a mechanism inside you that you feel to give your kids whatever they want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But on the other end, you owe it to your kids
without a doubt
to say fuck no.
Yes.
Yep.
So we have to be.
If that means I have to leave the grocery store right now because you're throwing a temper tantrum, I'll fucking shove this cart down aisle 3 and I'll carry you the fuck out.
And how
of
many
here,
times
right?
have I told them that?
Yeah.
Many. It's just the way it goes.
Because Mama don't play.
And it's not because you don't want to. You have to.
You have to.
You owe it to your parent.
What could happen down the road? Absolutely.
How about fat pets?
We don't have fat pets.
No.
Can you imagine having a fat pet? Matt and I have a friend who has a fat pet.
Yeah, there's some listeners of the program that have fat pets.
I grew up with a fat pet.
How the fuck do you have a fat pet?
That's sad. That's hard.
In Louisiana, it was, you didn't finish your plate of food. Okay, and you put on the table on the floor.
Well, you also have like an emaciated pet.
Me?
Yeah, you.
He's on the other side.
Oh, it's like half a dog. It's like it drops below 60 and the thing's shivering inside.
I had a Great Dane that had, I forget what it had. If I may say its liver was deteriorated, my wife's gonna say it was his kidney, but something was wrong with him, and he was in his final days of life, and he had stopped eating. He was normally a 150-pound dog where you could see the ribs.
Yeah.
And he had dropped to like 110.
Oh.
And we were outside with him one time in front of our house, and someone drove by in a van and rolls down the window and goes, "You fucking pieces of shit, feed your fucking dog."
Oh.
I was just like, I think my wife started crying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
because we were buying steak at that point, and he wouldn't even eat it.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Doctor tells you you have type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
You jump in the car, you call your mom.
Yeah, I'm really upset.
You can't have kids. You're
Yeah, he said your ability to have children will depend on whether or not we can get you to ovulate, which has to do with your insulin, everything working in harmony. Your body, so, not to sound like this, crazy feminist or whatever, but the woman's body is amazing.
Right.
The fact that it does,
no one's going to argue in this.
The fact that it does all these things in a 28-day cycle is fucking miraculous.
Right.
The shit that it has to do and the things that have to be in place for them all to work. So many moving parts. So if something in your life is not healthy or is not working, like that may not work. That whole process may not actually work. And there were so many reasons why mine was not working. So my doctor said, we need to get you on metformin, which is medications that diabetics take. It's the first medication. Once metformin stops working, then you start taking insulin shots for the rest of your life. Said, let's get you on metformin.
He doesn't say, hey, you need to stop eating sugar.
He said, no. He says, you need to lose weight. We need to get you on metformin, and you should lose 20 pounds being on this metformin. There was no talk about the way I was eating. It was just lose weight.
Yeah, and now you know that it has nothing to do with weight, right?
No, it has to do with the shit that you're eating.
Yeah, like you could be completely skinny.
Yep.
And eat like shit and get type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
But the doctor didn't mention sugar at all.
No.
Interesting.
No,
okay.
It was just you need to lose some weight, and we need to modify that. We'll get you on the metformin. And he was right. I took the metformin. I didn't feel the best. I had a lot of stomach issues on it. I did lose 20 pounds, and I got pregnant the next month.
And Texas kind of is like the fat capital of the U.S., I think maybe
I'd say Louisiana's probably number one. I'll give Texas a close second.
Yeah, I'm speaking anecdotally. There was a summer many years back where for the History Channel I chased tornadoes. I was a cameraman that chased tornadoes, and I did that for 3 months. And our base was Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
And we would drive all the way to the Canadian border in that tornado alley. And I had never living in California at the time. I hadn't seen people who were over 300 pounds.
Right.
But when I was in Lubbock, you would go, everything was all you can eat. That was another thing. We didn't really have, so we had Sizzler in California, but we didn't really have these all you can eat buffets. And everywhere in Lubbock was all you can eat buffets.
Yes.
And I saw shit in there that I would try to tell my friends about back in California. Now we have it here in Cali.
Yeah.
We have all the tons of 300 pounders, but that was a huge eye opener to me.
Yeah.
And so when you're surrounded by 300 pound people, 200 pounds, you're not.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not standing out.
Like I said, I felt like I did get some looks, but I think I even said this earlier I wasn't 300 pounds. I wasn't or 4 or whatever.
2 people to a bench and they don't even fit on the bench. I remember seeing regularly and I was like, whoa, in California, my whole 4 of us sit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was heavy, but I wouldn't say I was like on the upper limit of the heaviest I'd ever seen or things like that. So it wasn't where I wanted to be, but there was always in my mind like, oh, it could be worse. You know?
Yeah, we had Matt Bischel sitting in the chair you're in. And he was pushing close to 500. He was 450 and some change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up higher fours.
Wow.
And Kai said she had to buy a special scale.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
To weigh herself. Yeah, when the scale pegs and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's why I told you my last known weight was 245 because I stopped weighing.
Right.
I just stopped.
I've had enough of this.
Yeah, so it could have gone up, but I just didn't do it anymore.
So the doctor gets you on metformin.
Yeah.
Who makes that? Do you know?
I don't know who metformin is made by.
Okay.
But typically people with PCOS have a very hard time getting pregnant. Some people don't get pregnant ever. PCOS. Okay. Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. So it's really tough because some families are never able to have children or they'll have to do in vitro. And some people with PCOS are not overweight. They look like fit, normal, regular human beings, and they have it too. So I've done a ton of research on it, and I was interested to see that after I lost all this weight, do I still have it? Do I identify with that anymore? What does that mean for me with PCOS? And it's interesting because guess what? I still had a lot of issues with PCOS
to this day.
Okay. I have to manage it with my diet.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's amazing.
So I uncovered the way to best manage my PCOS was through not eating dairy. When I eat dairy, it messes with my hormones so terribly. It's immediate. It's like within the next cycle. Like if I ate, let's say for the next 3 weeks, I just started eating like a yogurt a day or something. By my next period, I would probably wouldn't have it. I wouldn't have it, or I would have it like every other week.
So these cysts, are they still on your ovaries right now?
So that's one thing that's a little bit. Yes. However, women will have cysts on their ovaries at different times of the cycle just because that's their time of the cycle to have them. So a lot of people in the PCOS community are a little upset with the name of this disorder because a lot of doctors will only diagnose them if they have a presence of cysts, but they also have all these other symptoms. So if a doctor doesn't see cysts, they'll say, no, that's not what you have. When really having cysts or not is kind of like, it doesn't really matter
when they manifest or don't manifest.
Yeah, because you may be just looking at a woman's ovaries, normal ovaries at that time of her month anyways.
Right.
So I've done some really great reading. The Period Repair Manual is a great book that I've been reading.
Wow, that's a great title.
Isn't it a great title? Yeah. She's
Period
Repair Manual.
To the point, there's no questioning what that book's about.
Yeah. No. There it is. Yeah.
It's a book on grammar.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. It was an interesting road to go down, but we were very fortunate that we did get pregnant within the month.
Yeah.
And the pregnancy was...
What did you do to lose weight?
I didn't do anything except for pop the pill.
Yeah.
Oh, the metformin.
Yeah.
And you lost 20 pounds.
I lost 20 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost 20 pounds. Because what it did was it helped my insulin that's in my body use the sugars that I'm giving it and use it to energy and not just store it because I have all this extra insulin rolling around in my body. It was helping to control how much of it is in my body.
And it stops working after a while?
I don't know. I think it can. I think sometimes diabetics that are on it have to eventually move to insulin injections because the metformin is not enough anymore.
Right.
So I think if you're not attacking maybe some root causes of the issue, I wouldn't say that every diabetic could get off of their medication, but they could certainly lower the threshold of medication that they would need.
Clearly,
if they
no
met
doubt.
It. Yeah.
Diet.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say diet because when we talked to your doctor, there was no discussion of diet. Just take the pill.
It was take the pill.
Mm-hmm. So if that's the prescription, then I can see you don't change your diet. The pill's gonna stop.
Would it have helped you? Would you, if he would have said, "Hey, stop drinking sugary drinks"?
You know what? That's funny. Probably not, because when you get that kind of message from your doctor, it kind of feels. I think at the time it was like, meh. I knew that. I knew I was eating too much. I knew we were eating out and doing this, that, and the other. The information, you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because of it's not comfortable, or I like this food. And I liked eating.
Even though you're threatened with death?
I think for me, it took...
Am I overstating it?
No, you're not.
No. Okay.
I think for me, it took needing to be at that place to make a change. So we got pregnant with Caden. I still hadn't really made a change. I had a high risk pregnancy. At 14 weeks, every time you go in for your checkups, you have to do a urine test. They're testing for urine, like protein in your urine. And I tested positive for protein in my urine, which was a red flag for a condition called preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure. And usually you can have seizures and you can die. And obviously the baby can die as well. And the only way to manage that is to keep your blood pressure low. And if you can't, then the baby has to be delivered. And if that means that the baby's coming at 25 weeks, that's what that means. So I was scared shitless because at 14 weeks, I already had the signs of preeclampsia. Preeclampsia can be hereditary, and my mom did have it with me. I was a preemie baby. I was a 3-pound, 4-pound baby.
Wow.
At like 32 weeks.
Wow. So at 14 weeks you have this, and do you do any lifestyle changes?
No.
Just keep. Yeah, it's just the pill, the metformin.
Yeah.
So you're on metformin, and you're on not Paxil, but.
And I think actually when you get pregnant, you might have to get off the metformin, right?
No, we kept that's what the doctor was saying. You can keep taking it.
The metformin while you're pregnant? I
But
can't really remember.
We had to get off of, or you had to get off of the Paxil or whatever it is that you were taking at the time. That was a big worry for you.
No, I was on the Paxil. I was on Zoloft.
Zoloft?
I was on Zoloft.
And is that your third now?
That was like my third or fourth.
I'm having trouble keeping track of all of that.
Yeah, I should have drawn it off.
No, it's you guys were there and you're having trouble remembering.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. It's this like spiraled out of control story. Mm-hmm. Like, I was on Zoloft and he said you can stay on it, and I did.
That's antidepressant, right?
Yeah,
but you were off the metformin.
Yes, I do believe when you get pregnant, you have to get off of the metformin, if I'm remembering that correctly. Okay. So I'm having this pregnancy. Everything's going well. We're enjoying it. We're so excited. In the back of my mind, I'm scared shitless that I'm going to have a super early preterm baby. Maybe it's not going to make it, and this is my fault. So I'm stressed out. I'm stress eating. I don't have really any support on what to do moving forward. All my doctor said was, I don't want you to gain a lot of weight. And I was heeding his advice, because at the end of my pregnancy, I had only gained 5 pounds.
Holy shit. Yeah. Holy shit.
And I had a 6-pound baby.
So how much do women typically gain during pregnancy?
25 to 35 is probably very average.
Yeah.
If not more.
Yeah, if not more. Yeah. Like, I've known people who've gained like 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, that's probably not best, but I think that the typical weight gain is like 35, probably
5
like
pounds.
That. I'd only gain 5 pounds.
That's a heavy weekend for me.
Yeah. Seriously.
So you went into the pregnancy weighing about 200 and let's say 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Muscle menos.
Yeah.
And at 9 months, did you go 9 months?
I had him at 38 weeks, so just 2 weeks shy.
Okay. And you had a cesarean?
No, I had to be induced because my preeclampsia, the symptoms were really coming up. My blood pressure at this point was like 160/110. Like the numbers were almost meeting in the middle.
They induced the baby at 38 weeks and he came out?
Yeah, they induced me at 38 weeks. They did a lot of different tests. The protein was increasing in the urine. My blood pressure was rising. They also do this really interesting test where they do your reflexes, you know, like the old school reflexes.
Oh, yeah.
My reflexes were like hyper. And that's a huge marker of preeclampsia coming. So preeclampsia leads to eclampsia, which is a fatal condition. So that's why they call it preeclampsia. So,
and how many years did you do in medical school?
I know, isn't that great?
Crazy.
Isn't that awesome?
If this is all, you didn't know any of this shit until it gets thrown on your plate, and then you study.
Yeah.
You read the books.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
She got 18 tabs open.
18 tabs.
Yeah. On a good day.
So
3 windows.
what's the inducing medicine called? I forget.
Pitocin.
Quick question. What is inducing?
Inducing is where you give the woman Pitocin, which is a fake form of the actual hormone that a woman would produce to go into labor on their own. So it creates contractions and creates an environment for the baby to come on out.
When you take a birthing class, at least the birthing class I took with my wife, it was pretty crazy what they were saying. You can basically a woman can be unconscious and she can give vaginal birth. Yeah. And basically what they're saying is the body just at different times produces these different hormones that cause different muscle contractions and different behaviors in the skin and different and the body would just do it automatically.
Yeah. I was around one of our copywriters, Nicole. She's due, I think, early next month. Yeah. And I was with her yesterday. And she said that women have contractions leading up like 2 weeks prior. Yeah. And she said, I'm having a contraction right now.
Did you say, don't be fucking gross?
I was like, I'm not touching your stomach now. I was like, she's like, feel it's like hard as a rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool. I forgot. Yeah. It gets like a rock.
Really hard.
It was a trip to me.
It was very cool. So yeah, they give you.
That's cool. She lets you touch her.
Yeah.
That's really.
It was okay. I didn't just go.
He had permission.
I love it. Permish.
Like paramesh.
It rhymes with bish.
The bish has permish.
Matt Bischel, we call him the bish.
The bish has permish.
I have my son call him hi bish.
Hi bish.
Because I want it to get confused with another word.
Yeah. I love it.
Hey bish.
Hi bish.
He's got the sup bish.
Sup bish.
That's so cute.
Baby comes out.
Baby comes out. So I have to be put on this
beautiful 6-pound boy.
Yeah, I have to be on this magnesium, I can't remember what it was, drip of IV to help me so I do not have seizures and die.
Okay.
Had you had a seizure previously?
I had not had a seizure, but that's what happens with preeclampsia that leads to eclampsia is you have these seizures because your blood pressure is just so high, your body just can't take it. So it can be fatal. So they had me on that. I wanted to have a natural birth. I hung out for 18 hours and I just couldn't do it anymore. With Pitocin, the contractions are not like natural contractions. They come on much faster, longer. So, my goal was to have a natural birth and I just wasn't set up for that with the Pitocin. That's not to say that women don't do it. And when they do, that's like fucking awesome to them that have natural births on Pitocin.
Sorry, it's incredible. You lost me, but you didn't have a cesarean.
I did not have a cesarean.
But so you did still give vaginal birth.
Yeah, I did.
That's not considered natural?
No, I meant like unmedicated.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, a natural unmedicated. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
Baby comes out. Any complications with your weight?
No, not at all. He was a healthy baby boy. Yeah. Not a one problem.
You go home. Mm-hmm. And his name is?
Caden.
And he's got his own little couch, his own little director's chair that says Caden.
Yeah.
You are 25 years old.
2 weeks. I had turned 25 2 weeks before that.
Travis, how old are you at that time? Just kidding. 20. Don't care.
Yeah.
No.
He was a senior. She was a freshman.
Yeah. Right. So plus 4.
29.
So, 20.
Plus
your
4.
Grandfather
20,
material.
29. Yeah. Getting there.
It's funny when we we do our due diligence and research when people come in, but we never know where the fuck it's gonna go, and we got to have you back so Travis. We can ask Travis a question.
Yeah. Have us back anytime.
You'd win the supporting the Academy Award for supporting actor.
I'm here for her. This is her story.
Good.
Oh,
yeah, you are. You're incredible, man.
And where does CrossFit come in? how long are you on this type 2 diabetes journey? How many times do you go back to the doctor? How close do you get to taking insulin? What's the steps now?
So
has he started his, like, okay, I'm going to unfuck myself?
You didn't decide that until, was it after Harper, Joe?
No, it was before Harper.
Okay.
Because there was that picture. So Caden was born in January. Garrett got married in April or May.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett's your brother?
My younger older brother, yeah, the middle child. There's a picture of me holding Caden on the beach as a baby, and that's the picture that I saw in August. That
was his picture.
That was my picture.
Sparked him to say, "Wow, I've really gained some weight."
That picture.
Which is interesting because Gary Roberts said, who I have here, who I pick his brain a lot about being overweight. He said reflections and pictures and like all that shit when you're fat throws you for a fucking loop. Every time you see one, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So at A&M, I was in the core, running all the time, push-ups, all this PT and everything, and I was 205, something like that, and I thought I was in great shape. And I saw that picture. I didn't recognize myself, and
but you'd gained some weight after being out of the core.
Yeah.
What do you weigh now?
192, 191.
Oh yeah, you don't look even that heavy.
I would say you look younger in this picture than you do in other pictures where you are younger.
You're a pretty thin guy. You're tall?
Yes, 6'1".
Okay.
6'1".
He's got some size to him, man.
He does?
He's
Look at those
pretty girthy
hands.
dude.
How big those hands
He's a big
are.
guy.
Oh yeah, those are big hands.
I don't know what it is about this spot. I always see the big hands from over here.
Yeah.
What do you see when you sit over there?
Small hands?
Small.
Carny hands?
It's like,
I'm sitting like this out of courtesy to you today because he'll always be like, hey, dude, I don't want to stare at your junk. I'm like, well, then
Oh, okay, yeah.
so I'll sit with my legs just wide open.
Travis
It's like the
actually
Bermuda Triangle.
He's a pretty big guy. He's
Yeah?
got pretty big broad shoulders. Yeah.
So yeah, it was that picture that made me change, and that was August. So right after Caden was
It's 2010.
6-7 months old.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. That's when you started with the P90X in the living room.
Yeah.
And you're pregnant when he does that. You have a baby, but you're also pregnant with Harper Joe.
So yeah, Caden's like 6 months at this age. We don't have Harper Joe yet, and he's starting going to LA Fitness a little bit, doing P90X, right?
Yeah.
That's how you kind of started.
I started with P90X because going to a gym was.
That's right. You wanted to be in shape before you went to the gym.
In shape.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like people who come clean your house, you clean your house before they come to clean your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like obese people
That's a
go
good
to
comparison.
McDonald's before they go to someone's house for dinner.
You got a pregame, man.
So you don't exactly. Yeah.
So you don't look like an idiot.
You're not
at their
embarrassed
house.
for whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from the moment you have Caden, is it every day your love for this child is being mixed with your fear of your own health condition? Is it like just, oh my God, I just can't get settled because I'm scared about this type 2 diabetes shit?
I was always still afraid of it. Yeah, it was always in the back of my mind. And I still, I was breastfeeding, so I lost a lot of weight. Actually, I lost like 20 pounds breastfeeding, which I think women burn up to like 600 extra calories a day just by keeping their children alive.
I can't believe how much my wife, I have twins. I can't believe how much she eats and drinks. It's
nuts, right?
It's
it was
nuts.
totally
Basically, it doesn't have time to stop. It just goes through.
You're just like, you're just eating all the time. You're feeding the baby all the time. And so adjusting was definitely an adjustment. And I had lost a little bit of weight, and I was really happy about that and excited about that.
When you were breastfeeding, I remember Caden had lots of problems, and that's where you really learned.
That's right. He had a lot of issues that I uncovered because, again, our pediatrician is great, but they only go by what's on their text. And if you fall in the cracks somewhere, then you're shit out of luck or you're on your own. So here I am with my 18 tabs again, figuring out why my son has all these issues while I'm breastfeeding him. And then I realized that when I eat dairy, it affects him. So I had to quit eating dairy, breastfeeding our son. And what was crazy was that I had banked up all this milk that I saved and had in the freezer. We had like 50 canisters of breast milk that I had to give. I gave to a friend that had preemie twins, because it had dairy in it.
It was all tainted.
Yeah. But I couldn't throw it away.
My wife totally changed all of her eating habits based on the reaction of the kids. Eat onions, the kids flip out, no more onions.
Absolutely. It's good that you brought that up because I totally forgot that. But yeah, I stopped doing dairy then.
Did you feel better right away? Or did you just like miss it?
I missed it a lot because I love cheese.
Right.
It's so good.
Cheese is my jam.
Yeah, mine too.
But butter is my number one love. So it's
Do you have butter in your house?
like like soak our skin in butter.
Yeah.
I wake up in the middle of the night and Bailey's like wiping on her arm. You don't have butter?
I don't think so.
I could take it or leave it,
but I mean, you can. Yeah, I mean,
because I didn't grow up.
Is butter really dairy?
I have no
idea.
So
it's interesting. Also, a topic for another podcast. But the butter, I can have butter in my diet. Reason being is because we eat Kerrygold grass-fed butter.
Same here.
So with butter, because of its high fat content, it doesn't have the same, I think it's called A1 casein. It's the type of protein that's in dairy that causes the problems with hormone reception and things like that. So
why doesn't it have it? I missed that.
It doesn't, because of its high fat content.
Okay, it doesn't have, okay.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have that protein in there. So a lot of people that go dairy free, they can play around with adding a full fat grass-fed from a good source dairy.
How about cottage cheese? Do you eat that?
I don't play with cottage cheese. No, I haven't been able, I can't, I walk such a tight rope that the only thing that I can do that's dairy is the grass-fed butter. I've tried with high fat, high quality yogurt, and it threw me for a loop. So, but that's just personal. And that's, I think, across the board is you have to experiment with your own body. Like my threshold is very thin. Yours is not. Yours may not be.
And it's become thinner as you get older.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I stay away from dairy almost entirely.
Yeah.
No yogurt.
I don't eat dairy at all.
No brown cow.
I mean, I don't anything like pizza. I think I got a breakfast burrito from The Point a few weeks ago, and it had cheese in it.
Bubble guts.
Yeah, it ruined my day.
Yeah.
It really, it's just I get so inflamed.
Same.
That's really what I like. The cause of or the effect of a lot of the problem things that I eat. It's like if I get inflamed, it's like let's stay away from that.
Yeah.
So like high gluten beer, like that. Like I can't really handle.
Mm-hmm.
Like wheat beer.
Yeah, like Sante Darius. No offense, love Sante Darius, but a lot of their beer is super high, like glutenful, and it just. My face, I can feel my face like super puffy.
I've seen your face.
I feel it in
like
my knuckles.
Yeah. It's like, am I getting into a fight last night? Just had a couple beers.
You don't even hardly drink. You don't drink enough.
Dude, I'm cool. I drink. Come on, you gotta pick on me.
You don't drink enough. So you're pregnant with the second baby.
Yeah. So
he's starting to get on a fitness campaign. Is your doctor tripping? Are you tripping on your type 2 diabetes? Are you back on the metformin while you're breastfeeding?
I have to stay off of all that. And honestly, I didn't actually bring it back into my life because I had lost the weight from breastfeeding, and I was actually doing a pretty good job keeping it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how about the insulin when they checked it? I mean,
so I think that it was still kind of up there. But I wasn't really doing really much about it. I didn't really want to go on the metformin again because it gave me a lot of like gastrointestinal issues. Mm-hmm. So with Travis already starting to kind of work out, we kind of were making some tweaks, and I was maintaining probably like 190-ish, 200.
Oh, so you were down.
I was down. Yeah, I was down. And then when we decided we wanted to get pregnant with Harper Joe, I was like, oh, maybe I should take my metformin.
Yeah.
So because it might be like a year of us trying or 2 years of us trying. And it was not a year. It was one time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's the other miracle of the female body. Once they get going, once that baby factory door opens.
It's open.
Yeah, it's open.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, so for you, when we look back at it now, we say that, you can tell when you ovulate, you can tell when you don't, and going through your cycles now. And we say, it's kind of a wonder how Harper Joe came around, because at the time when you were ovulate or thought you were ovulating, you really weren't.
No, yeah.
So even though you were having more regular appearing periods and cycles, you still really weren't.
Yeah, I probably wasn't really ovulating. So
once again, no egg.
Right.
Exactly.
Just the blood.
Just the blood, right. So the fact that we got pregnant again for the second time was super a miracle. So I must have ovulated that month because I don't think I was consistently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's definitely amazing. So with her pregnancy, I didn't have the preeclampsia, but I did have gestational diabetes.
Yeah.
How did you not have that the first time?
Good question. I don't know. And you know what? You're going off of one test. I mean, I could have had it, could have not having it.
Snapshots.
Is that the test where you have to drink the Coke and take the test?
Yeah, you drink. It's like a flat sun kiss. It's so disgusting. And
My wife did the research on that shit. She didn't drink it.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I have a really good friend, my friend Sarah. She did the same thing. She refused. She said, she's such a healthy eater. Like her whole family is. She said, I never even drink this shit. If you have me drink this, I'm going to test positive because I never drink stuff like this. She kind of fought with the doctor and she said, I'm just not going to do it. And she didn't. So, and her baby Allie is just the most sweet, perfect, so healthy. So yeah, I have questions and qualms about the way they do that testing in the first place. So
in their defense, it's really screwed up because it's like we live in this echo chamber of retarded information.
Yeah.
Information that's been tweaked and misrepresented, and there's so many unhealthy people.
Yes.
And doctors are clearly looking just for the unhealthy people.
Yeah.
And there's this it's screwed up. I equate it to like being a criminal. A criminal probably walks around and all they see are purses all day, right?
Right.
Because they're stuck in that mode.
Exactly.
And it's just a screwed up environment that doctors are in, and it's like, and then in I'd say 95% of the people who say they eat healthy aren't eating healthy anyway. So when someone says that to a doctor, you know what I mean? They're missing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So
we go through and, right midpoint of your pregnancy, we found out that I had gestational diabetes. And which means it's just like having diabetes, but typically that's only reserved for your 9 months of pregnancy. A very healthy individual, what they say, can not be diabetic walking around during their life, but have gestational diabetes in that 9-month period. And then it goes away after they deliver. So I had to control that with food. I had to go and see a nutritionist. I use with loose quotes once a month at Diabetes America, and told me like,
I would love to know the fundings and backers for Diabetes really America. Good? I'd love to know the origins of that. I mean, I don't know, but I have my suspicions.
I still have all my old food logs because I saved it. So it's pretty interesting to go back and see like what they told me to eat, how many carbs they told me to eat. I don't even eat that much right now. It's just the information is very poor. And then I had to take my blood glucose after every meal and in the morning, and test my ketones in the morning, make sure I didn't have ketones in the morning. So there's a lot of crap going on. So it was another higher risk pregnancy. Sometimes when you have gestational diabetes, the baby can be really, really, really large when have issues with their own.
They're called like Hulk babies, right?
Yeah, like giant children.
Huge, wide shoulders.
Yeah, like a toddler. And then they can have issues.
Have you heard that before, Matt?
No, but I'm instantly intrigued.
Yeah,
it is intriguing. I was 9 pounds.
You were a 9-pound baby.
9 pounds when I was born.
So I was kind of freaking out.
Is that bigger or
that's on the bigger side?
That was a big old baby. Yeah.
Yeah, like normal is like between
7.
I think, 7 is a good healthy baby.
Yeah, 7's a good baby. So the babies can have issues with their own like blood sugar regulation as well. So I was really nervous about that. And then going into this delivery, I was much more informed. We were informed. Yeah. I had hired and reached out to a doula which is a labor and delivery coach. I really, really wanted to do a natural, non-medicated birth. That was really important to me. So towards the end, Why
was that important to you?
Because I was starting to see how medication just muddled every part of my life up. Like, why couldn't I just do something unmedicated? Why couldn't I live my life unmedicated? Do I always have to have medicine? So I'm depressed and I have anxiety and I have OCD. Like, why is medicine like the first thing we do?
What you take, she was getting.
Yeah.
And why start her before she even is born?
Yeah, I just wanted to start with like this clean slate. It just felt like a breath of fresh air. So that was important. And I did it. No
Pitocin. No, the preeclampsia didn't force you to do.
So I started getting a little preeclamptic at the end, and he said, if you don't go into labor on your own, I'm going to induce you in the next few days. And the next morning I woke up with contractions and we had a baby.
That was the
next day.
Quite the experience.
It was an awesome experience.
It was a great,
Did he sweep your membrane?
He did sweep my membrane.
What is that? What is that?
He has a hand up. Yeah, good job. High five.
That's 2.
So I did have contractions, and I called the doula over, and I said, I'm having contractions. I'm 39 weeks. And she said, okay, I'm on my way. She comes over. They're pretty regular, and then they just stop. I had a doctor's appointment that evening anyway, so I said, come with me so you can meet my doctor. You know, he's going to be in the delivery room, and my doula was going to be there with me, with Travis as well. And so he was like, yeah, it looks like they stopped, and, you know, they could pick up at any time, or they could be tomorrow or next Tuesday or whatever. But we need you to have this baby soon because the preeclampsia is starting to happen again. So when they sweep the membranes, they go in and they kind of separate the amniotic sac from the placenta, and that will jumpstart your contractions. So they go in and like separate it.
Matt, the guy puts his finger in your lady and he goes like this.
Pretty much.
It feels great.
Thank you for your explanation.
It feels really wonderful.
I think it's like this.
Just like that. Yeah. It might have been two, though. It might have been two.
Not important.
So anyway, I go home and he said it should start. It should start because you're like super ready. And I was, you know, I think I was like 1 or 2 centimeters for like a month.
Yeah.
And like ready anyway. So I go home, labor contractions start in a couple hours, probably like 6 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, I think your appointment was at around noon and around 6.
Around 6 p.m. And then my doula came back over. I wanted to labor at home as long as possible in the tub, in my own home, with Travis and my doula, just being my support system.
Low stress,
keep my blood sugar or my blood pressure down as much as I could. And then she said, you know, it's time we get to the hospital. We went to the hospital.
Did she use the app, like or is she old school, just time it herself?
Yeah, she was just timing it herself. Yeah.
What are those things called? Contractions. The contractions app.
Yeah, she was very she was very earthy. It was great. She was amazing.
As the doula should be.
She's amazing. Yeah. Shout out to Nicole.
The doula, if your doula doesn't have armpit hair, you ain't got a doula.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Sure.
Your doula should definitely have armpit
For
hair.
sure.
What, Matt? That's true.
No, I believe you. I believe.
Yeah, all right.
I believe you.
So we went to the hospital, and she came quickly. It was pretty funny because I guess the doctor, I told them, like, I don't want, you know, they put you with all these IVs for all this shit. And I said, I don't want that. I want to be able to move around. That was important to me, walk around. And I had to fight for all that.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I literally had a birth plan. We had to fight for all that.
Let me guess. They're like, okay, we're going to put an IV in you. I don't want an IV. Well, we're not going to actually put the IV in you. We're just going to put the stint in case you need an IV.
Yep. And that's what
I
they
don't
did.
want the stint before the IV. Did you get, yeah.
All of
Yep.
that.
They said we're going to do a hep block or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Can we do that? Can we compromise on that? I said, why do we have to compromise? Like, I'm telling you, I don't fucking want it.
Yeah.
So it was just, if we were to ever do it again, which we're not, it would have been if I were healthy enough, a home birth or a birthing center.
Why no more kids?
Well, why we don't? I think we feel like
heart's fulfilled.
We're in a good place.
I'm good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're good.
That's a great answer. That's the best answer I've ever heard.
Heart's fulfilled. Yeah. Factory is shut down, essentially. Anyways, we couldn't.
You're not kind of addicted to it? You don't want like 3 more?
No.
Oh, okay.
Is that a thing?
Oh, I would take 3 more.
Oh, that's precious.
I know, it's scary. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. So
my wife says if I could promise a girl, she would have more because we have 3 boys.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking about promising.
Yeah.
But with no backing.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So it was good. It was a great experience. And she was healthy. She was little, 5 pounds, 15 ounces. I didn't gain any weight with her.
Wow.
I gained no weight on that pregnancy. And I started that pregnancy a little lower than the first one too. Had a great pregnancy, great delivery.
Funny as hell delivery
because they came in, they were like, oh, she's ready, we got to call the doctor.
It was midnight.
Yeah, midnight. And like literally after they left, I felt the urge to push. And I remember thinking like, I've got to push. And they said, oh no, the doctor isn't here yet. I don't know what you want me to do about this.
This train ain't waiting for him.
Not my problem.
Like, I don't know. And I remember looking up at Travis.
The deer in headlights look of terror and just please and everything.
Because I needed to push and they were telling me no. And I looked up at Travis.
And we made eye contact and it was just.
And he was like, do it.
I'm here with you because the nurses were all, don't do it, don't push. And
my body I can't handle it.
It wasn't up to you.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't up to me. So I pushed. I broke my waters on that push, and I pushed 2 more times, and the doctor was coming into the room, like literally throwing his boots on, like trying to get gloves. The shit was flying. It was comical.
Everywhere. Nurses were everywhere. It was, and she was born onto a table.
Yeah, I was like kind of on my side because I didn't want to be like on my back. I wanted to move whatever felt comfortable for me. And I pushed once, broke my waters. I pushed 2 more times, and I just caught her on my leg.
Yeah. And then the doctor came over, picked her up, clamped the cord, and I cut it, and he got paid a lot of money.
Our buddy here in the office, his wife just had a baby, and they were in the car at 2:10 a.m. and the baby came out at 2:21 a.m. She was on all four and on the gurney. They didn't even make it to the bed.
Wow, yeah.
Just the gurney in the hallway.
Yeah.
I was so happy for him. I go, dude, that's the way you want it.
It's so perfect. Cool. Yeah. It was an amazing experience. Yeah. It was. And then, so after that...
you think that's okay that I shared that? I didn't say it like...
No, I think it's fine.
I've never said that on the show. Do you think it's okay? I've never said that on the show. Do you think it's okay if I share
that? Go ahead and timestamp that and edit it
out. It's okay to share that, right? A woman's like a little bit. I didn't even say her name.
I think that's good.
All right.
I feel like it's you see that more without going down this road too much. I think you see that a lot more with like CrossFitters.
Yes, I would agree.
More, 100%. A little bit more.
Just being more like
informed about things and in tune with yourself.
Yeah, less medical on a birth. Like,
it's okay.
People have babies all the time. We don't have to treat them like they're fucking sick or they need to be in a hospital all the time. There is a place for that, and I'm so happy for that, and I'm respectful of that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if the train ain't broken, let a woman have a baby. And if she wants to be in a squat or on her knees, let her do it. If she wants to, however she wants to be, don't force her on her back.
My wife's, our midwife and our doula we wanted to have the baby in the hospital, and we started going down that road. And then we went to the birthing classes, and the birthing teacher's like, you don't want to be in a hospital. I'm like, yeah, we do. And they go, I'm listening to you speak. Mm-hmm. You're not that candidate. So I'm like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And then we kept going to the doctor and all the gynecology appointments or what's it called? OB.
Yeah.
YN. And they started saying shit that I'm like, so we ended up doing a home birth.
That's wonderful.
And the midwife and the doula told us, hey, we're twice as conservative as any doctor you could ever have. If for any time, even the days building up, we have the slightest concern, we're not doing it.
Yeah, you're going to the hospital.
We're taking you to the hospital.
Exactly.
We're super duper conservative. And that's the whole reason why you want it to have it in the hospital, right? Because you want to, in case there is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't wait till in case there is. There in case where there is like, man, they put so many things in place that it makes you feel uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
So
yeah, I totally agree with that.
And without sounding preachy, I left that experience when people say, boy, your wife's so brave for having a baby at home. I think, no, you're so brave for having it in a hospital because you had to deliver the baby and keep them at arm's length, right?
Agreed.
I mean, it's like,
yeah.
So you have the second baby.
Yes.
No complications.
No complications. It was great.
You go home 2 days later.
Yeah, I go home 2 days later, super unprepared for the postpartum depression. And mind you, I'm still on Zoloft.
Okay.
In this pregnancy as well.
Okay.
I'm on the very medication that they give women that deal with postpartum depression.
Did your baby sleep with you in your bed?
No, they slept just right next to us in a little bassinet next to us.
We did. There were 40 doctors that came and took their L1 this weekend in Aromas. Amazing. And one of the doctors pulled me aside and said, hey, I listened to your show. We did a show with two CrossFitting women who had babies. And she said, did you get any blowback on that? And I said, no, why? What did I say? And she's like, well, you really shouldn't have babies sleeping in bed with you. So I just wanted to let people know that I have my baby sleep with me from the day they came home.
Yeah.
But a doctor told me that that's not okay.
Yeah.
So
the jury's out on all that.
Right.
So.
You definitely don't want to roll over your kid.
No, you certainly don't want to.
You definitely shouldn't be on drugs and in bed with your kid.
No.
We all agree on that. All right.
No, and
or drunk or passed out or any of that shit.
And the reason why we chose not to is because I'm such a heavy sleeper that I just didn't feel comfortable with that. Right. I felt like them in a bassinet right next to us was fine and actually gave me less anxiety about all that.
Right. And that's what it's about. It's all about convenience.
And what makes you comfortable.
Right.
So I was very I think we were unprepared for how bad the postpartum depression hit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every woman has a little bit of blues when
you didn't have it with the first one?
No.
With Caden?
Just the typical, when your hormones are leaving you, a little weepy here and there, but this was pretty severe.
It was a different breastfeeding experience with her as well.
Yeah, that was all really tough.
I think that played into your general
just
vibe,
not feeling good enough.
Everything.
It was never a feeling of not bonding with her or anything. I was incredibly bonded with her.
But not suicidal still.
No, I just did not feel like a good enough mom at all.
With Caden, it was his first grandkid, lots of people. They're not to say that there wasn't the same amount of support.
With
different. Harper. It was different. And you splitting your time, me going back to not business as usual, but getting back to work. I have a new feeling for myself that I've got not just you to take care of and just Caden, but now it's a family of 4.
Yeah.
I've got certain responsibilities and things that are pulling on me from a different direction. So for you weren't on an island by yourself, but I'm sure you felt that way in many aspects.
How'd you know that?
He was listening.
I'm not surprised you knew.
I did. And then, you have your infant at home, and then you have the toddler on top of that, which is having one baby, not a problem. Going from 1 to 2 that's tough. Really tough. So, because when you have the when they're sleeping, you can get all your other things done. But when you have 2, when one's sleeping, the other one needs something. So you never have that break. So it was really tough. So I approached my doctor. I said, I'm really we talked to Travis a lot about this. And I said, I'm really, really, really struggling. I'm weepy all the time. I'm having a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks. Went to the doctor and he said, well, let's put you on maybe Zoloft. And I said, well, you may not see it in my records, but I'm actually on that still. I was like, oh. Okay, well, here's the number for a therapist.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So he's not giving you individualized attention.
No.
Not my opinion.
Right.
For that.
Right. If he's prescribing you a drug that you're already on, then he hasn't looked at your record.
Yeah.
Or says like maybe we should change it. I can't remember exactly the conversation, but it was, maybe we should change it after I told him I was on the Zoloft already. But I remember he'd given me a number for a therapist. And I remember calling you immediately and saying, this is bullshit. I've been in therapy my whole life. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing this. Like, something has to change. And I talk about it in the video, that was my tipping point, whereas his was how he felt in that photo of himself and seeing himself in that way. That was my tipping point where I said, enough is enough.
You're at home.
Yeah.
Your kids are there. You call Travis at work.
Yeah. He got home from work. We talked about it on the way home. Kids went to bed.
You're crying? Is this one of those conversations?
Oh, yeah. I even said it in the video. I literally just laid on the kitchen floor and just cried with every fiber of my being.
By the dog bowls, I still remember that.
And did he have his Coach coffee in his hand as you're on the
ground?
His
Coach's coffee, yeah. He set that aside.
I set it down.
Yeah, he set that aside, and I said...
Does he lay on the ground with you?
He always comes and sit next to me.
If she's... Sorry to interrupt this great story. If she's sick in the bathroom and throwing up...
He's holding my hair.
I'm there.
Yeah. And you know what? He is so funny. He has the worst gag reflex of anybody I've ever known. He can't see, like, vomit or hear it or smell it, but he will hold my hair and simultaneously be like dry heaving.
I will do what I have to do.
Yeah.
Let me tell you my move. I'm so proud of it, and I do it every time. If there's like food poisoning or you know what I mean, or somehow she gets sick, it's always something like that. I think it's always like the last 5 years she's had food poisoning 2 or 3 times, or the flu or something. The second in the middle of the night, if I hear her go to the bathroom, I will get cleaning supplies
ready
and fucking clean the fuck out of the toilet, because I think for myself, I don't like, when you're throwing up, you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I also don't want my wife touching the toilet anywhere like where I piss or shit.
Yeah.
So I start cleaning and wiping and wipe the floor. And then I for my next step is like hair, or I've even gotten a blanket and just like,
that's really thoughtful.
Just lay down. I lay down in there.
That's really thoughtful.
Of you. But I clean the toilet.
Yeah,
it's my first move. Like, oh God, I clean it.
I like that move.
Yeah,
for sure.
You can use that. You guys can.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
So you're on the floor and you're having a
like a total breakdown.
Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The worst you've had in your life.
Worst I've had in my life. Like, this is not the mother that I thought I was going to be. This is not the person I want to be. I feel like shit all the time. I don't feel good enough. This is just not how I envisioned motherhood and being married. And not that our marriage wasn't good. It was all me. I just didn't feel enough.
And at that point, you are a little bit caught up in the mesh.
Yes.
You're doing the revolving door of hospital pill therapist, therapist, gain some weight, lose some weight, gain some weight, lose some weight. Okay.
And just still always not feeling physically well, still doing those like crashes that I would do up and down with like my blood sugar and just seeing you, Travis, already getting some traction and losing some weight and feeling great. I'd noticed a change in him immediately, and I want that too.
So not only are you letting your kids down, but maybe you're even feeling you're letting your mate down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what am I?
Like, I don't want to be left behind. Yeah, I don't want to be left behind. I want to be with this too. I want to be with you on this, and I'm ready. And I remember him saying, like, I remember telling you, I'm ready.
Travis, when she was 19 and you guys were doing that walk across campus and she had to take a rest, had you seen anything else? Had that just become normal? Like, did you see her struggle getting out of the car, carrying groceries, taking a break halfway up to the door?
No, not that I ever really paid attention to or was out of the ordinary. That was just a very specific, really stuck in my mind, maybe because of the situation and everything that was going on around us. That one really stuck for me as a glaring one. But I don't know if there was ever any other occasions or if there was just a build up to that and that was what stuck with me or what. But
it was probably also like less about physically what I could or couldn't do, but more like the mental, because I would really obsess about how I would look and ask you, like, does this pair of, size 22 makes me look fatter than this pair of size 22 pants, and take me forever to get out of the house.
Asking a question several different ways just to make sure I wasn't lying to you.
To get just the right answer on the way that I looked, because I was embarrassed.
Wow, that puts you in a crazy situation.
Yeah.
And this is like a daily thing.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Are you dreading in the morning when the question comes?
No, I think the adage of honesty is always the best way to go, and just being honest and from where I was, you always looked beautiful to me. So, telling her the truth wasn't hard, and not seeing the buildup in the weight changes and myself also going through it to a certain degree, not quite like Danielle. It wasn't this night and day type of look. It was very subtle as we lived through it, and was very normal to us. That's all we knew.
Yeah. You were really good too about saying, you've asked me this question several different ways, and I've told you the answer over and over again. You have to trust that what I told you is true. Have I ever lied to you? And then that would get me being more rational, because me asking those questions in several different ways is just me being irrational because I feel out of control.
Did he handle you perfectly, or in hindsight, do you wish he would have said something different?
No, I think the way that he handles me is the most healthy. And sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes I can get a little pissed off because it's not what I want to hear, but it's what I need to hear. But he never does it in an asshole way. It's always, this is what's best for you. Even now, because even now I'll have, those thoughts about like how I look and feel a little less than confident. And he will tell me, just even a few days ago, it was the same conversation that we've had for how many years now?
Yeah.
And you'll say, you've asked me this question a couple different ways, and I've told you the same answer. You have to be confident, and you have to just move on and enjoy your day, and not let your day be dictated by what you weighed this morning, or if you feel bloated, or this, that, or the other. So he still handles me that way.
I think we've taken a little different light on it, in that we focus more on all the good things, because you don't want to waste your day thinking about all that. There's so much stuff that we live through every day with the kids and our workouts and our time with each other, that it's very easy to get consumed by the number on the scale, or the way my pants fit in the waist today, or whatever,
or the way I perceive that I look today.
Right.
And that's what I was mentioning earlier, is like that mental game. So for me, there's different things that I've been doing recently that I take from Trav, because he does gratitude journaling and things like that, and I can be a little resistant to stuff like that.
Men's club.
Yeah.
Gratitude journaling.
Gratitude
journaling.
What's gratitude journaling?
So for me, it's just taking, and my morning routine is I wake up, I go have a cup of coffee, I drink a big jug of water, and I sit and take 5 minutes to myself before the day starts, before the chaos of the kids getting up, everything. and I take 5 minutes and just think about, I write down today I'm grateful for, and 3 or 4 or 5 things that I'm grateful for.
What were you grateful for this morning?
So today was my awesome wife and all of her support for my goals and everything. My kids, my parents for helping with the kids, and then being able to be a part of this today, this podcast.
Are you ever concerned she's gonna see it and there's like a 12-day period where she's not on the list and you're like, oh fuck, what the fuck?
Why am I not number one every day?
Yeah, what?
So
maybe you could just fill out all of them the next 100 days. As,
pre-fill it out.
Danny.
So no, I'm not. I'm never worried about that. I buy my coffee maker. It's right there. So if she ever wants to look at it, she can. There's no secrets. And
do you look at it?
She's not on there every day, or maybe she might only make the list once a week. But I'm okay with that from my perspective, because there's so much for me to be grateful for.
I know you're grateful for me every day.
Absolutely.
That is just something that's very specific, and maybe for whatever days that I'm not on the list, it's because something else was very specific that you're super grateful for. And you don't need to say that you're grateful for me every day. I know
exactly. And like I said, there's so many things out there that it could be anything from, today it's my CrossFit coach who gave me some challenges for the workout, or it could be that just waking up and hearing my kids laugh in their beds the morning before, just that laughter.
How great is that?
Being able to think a little bit more critically about all the things that I've got going on, it really helps me start my day in the right place.
You're on the floor. You're not thankful for shit.
No.
You're crying.
Yeah.
And you jump up and do 100 burpees.
No, I said, Trav, we've got to make a change, and it's got to be a big one. Will you do this with me? I said, no question. Absolutely. I said, I am going to take everything in our pantry and everything in our fridge, and I'm going to throw it out. And I need to find a trainer or something. I need to find it, because I love that you can do P90X at home, and now you're starting to do like LA Fitness, but I've done all that before, and I didn't love it. It wasn't something that I yearned to do all the time. So whatever it is, I'm going to find it. And we've got to change the way that we eat, because this has always been like something that we've tried so many different ways, and we've never gotten it.
It's never stuck.
And we tried everything, and there was no question. And literally the next day I dialed up a number from Google and found a CrossFit trainer and started.
Whoa, sorry. What do you mean you dialed up a number from Google?
I Googled personal trainer, Cypress, Texas.
Had you heard of CrossFit at this point?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay.
I was traveling for work, and I happened to one night flipping through the channels and saw, I think it was the CrossFit Games, and I had never heard of it before then, and just watched it was a swim and a bar muscle up workout.
Oh.
And
2013 Games.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah. So it was 2013, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
so you, before she called the next day, you had seen it somewhere.
I had seen it, and I
okay.
I remember thinking, man, that's crazy. I don't even know how you.
I literally
had.
I had no clue. Never heard, seen anything.
And I watched it and just kind of filed it away, and I kept doing my thing.
Yeah.
And then you brought up CrossFit. I was like, hey, I just saw that 2 weeks ago.
So I met with this trainer. He did it from his garage. Brian, super awesome guy, got us started in all this.
You found sorry. I was thinking of cracking some jokes about P90X and stopped listening.
That's
8 seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's great. It's great. I come up with some great jokes too. It's a great beginner program. It's awesome. You Google personal trainer, get fit.
Yeah.
A CrossFit gym pops up. You call the guy. It's in his garage.
No, it was just like a trainer. It was a trainer's name. So I called him, and he invited me out, and he was doing it from his garage, and he said,
"The cure."
What's that?
For type 2 diabetes in someone's garage.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm sticking to that is because Greg Glassman invented this in his fucking garage.
No shit. Look at us.
You know what I mean? This is something Greg developed for himself.
Yeah.
So that he could stay fit.
That's awesome.
As a young gymnast.
That's very cool.
And this is something he brought to clientele, and that he developed with pencil and paper and no computers and tons of experimenting.
It was not fancy.
Pre-internet in garages.
Yeah. It was in his garage.
Up and down the coast of California. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And many gyms have started from garages.
Yeah.
And that's why we call them boxes, because then they ended up just being in boxes and storage units. And
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with him, and I remember meeting him for the first time. He said, well, I'm a little bit different from other personal trainers. If you ever worked with one? And I was like, actually, I have. He said, well, I do this thing called CrossFit. Have you ever heard of it? Nope. What is that? So we kind of talked about it a little bit. And
what's his name?
Brian.
Yeah. What's his last name?
McDonald. Yeah, Brian McDonald.
I love him already.
Yeah, Brian's great.
Yeah, just for recognizing. Yep.
Yeah, Brian's awesome. Love him so much. Yep. So I worked with him from, I guess it was like July until that December. And I started doing a ton of research on my own with nutrition, and he was helping me with that as well. And then we were doing a lot of CrossFit stuff, and it was more like the boot camp style. We didn't do a whole lot of bar work at the time. So it was more.
He probably hasn't had a minimal setup too. Right?
Yeah. So that's how we started now, or when we started at the time.
Very, very smart. Sorry to keep interrupting. Exactly how Greg would do it too.
Yeah.
Nutrition is our foundation. So you're always introducing some nutrition, and never load people.
Nope.
Until their movements are proficient.
Absolutely. So that's how we started, and we did that from June, July-ish to December. And
Travis is going with you?
No, I'm going on my own. And he would say, I would talk about Travis, said, I really want to meet him. And Trav would come, and he said, have him come. And you would hop in. I would jump in.
And it was the perfect thing, because for me, going to LA Fitness and doing that, the classic bro reps and all that stuff was getting very boring for me. Mm-hmm. Going in and doing the same things, working the different parts of the body and then going home. I had seen results, but the plateau.
Yeah. I said, Trav, we're doing this thing called CrossFit. I think you would love it. Like, come. Brian said you could come with me. And so you would come and hop in, and we started doing it together, and it was so much fun. And I remember finishing and doing these workouts and doing these things that I never in my life ever thought I would do. And
what? Give me one movement.
Oh, I mean, as easy as running. So I remember maybe a month or two into it, he said, we're going to go on a run, Dani. And I was like, really? I even told him about the spoons. I was like, Brian, I used to drop 2 spoons at once.
When's the last time you had run before then?
I had never run a continuous mile in my life. Never.
And you're 30...
late
29, 28, 29.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, never a continuous. I may have walked, I've done a mile, but I've never run a mile.
Yeah.
And so we went around his neighborhood. And I remember we went and we passed his house again. And he said, that was a mile. And I remember crying. And obviously I was in pain. And I told him, I said, Brian, I've never run this much in my whole life. And he said, well, we're going to continue going. We ran 3 miles that day.
Holy cow.
It was an incredibly pivotal moment for me.
Did he overtrain her, Matt?
Did he overtrain her?
Yeah.
I mean, it's her first mile. I think she could handle it at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we were doing really good. So I was super proud, super excited about that. Felt very powerful and felt.
What did he say when he saw you crying?
He was just really proud of me.
Yeah.
He's always been so supportive of me.
Awesome. Okay. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah. He's a really great guy.
And it's just one-on-one.
It was just one-on-one, yeah, and so I
because you were his only client, or because you requested one-on-ones, or
he just did one-on-ones.
That was his format.
Okay, that was his format at the time. So, I just every time I finished a workout, I just felt so powerful and in control, but in the most positive way. Because before, control was always grasping at straws because something was falling apart. This was control in the most proactive way, and it felt just so different. And in a place that I'd never been before. And so when I had that breakdown, I told Travis I was going to get off of my antidepressants. I said, I'm just not going to do this anymore.
1 month in.
Yeah, actually that night before I'd even signed up with Brian, when I had that collapse on the ground, that come to Jesus moment, I said, I'm done with this.
Is this type A? When you think of your type A person, is this type A? I'm not just going to get in shape. I'm not just going to change my diet. I'm also going to get off my meds. You're going for broke.
Oh,
is that
yeah.
type?
I'm all in.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
Everything's 150%.
So you
always.
Empty out the pantry. I'm going to quit my meds, and I'm going to start working out.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the bathroom, Matt?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't say
I'm good too. I can't believe it. This is a record for me.
I was already prepping something to say, but finish your story.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got somewhere to go.
I would say that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend all in for everybody. As a matter of fact, I think taking it slowly can be good for people, especially when you feel overwhelmed with the amount things to do to make a change like this. And in some ways we did do it step by step. But for me, it was, I have to make this big change because it's a signal for me that things are going to be different this time.
Right.
I've never done it like this. And, you know, what do they say the definition of craziness is? Doing the same shit over and over, asking for different results. So let's make it different.
And I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you'd hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And when you're at rock bottom, you can make some pretty monumental swings.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So let me just build this up a little bit. You have the collapse on the floor because the doctor's telling you like you need to go see a psychiatrist, and and it's not that you have anything against that. You've already tried that. You've already tried the meds.
Yeah.
You're doing the revolving door. You're caught in a mess. Instead, then you look up a CrossFit gym. You find it. You have a super supportive husband. You start going to the CrossFit gym. You've been going there for a month, and for the first time in your life, you run not only a mile but 3 miles.
Yes.
Okay. And now Travis is starting to attend a little bit.
Yep.
And your diet is changing?
My diet is changing. Yeah, I'm starting to learn. I'm starting to do research on what is what does clean eating look like? What does it mean to not just eat less because I had weight to lose, but to eat well for feeling better, for longevity, all these different things. And over the course of the years, I've experimented with a lot of different things and uncovered a lot of foods that trigger the very issues that I was dealing with, like the dairy with the PCOS. So that's...
Do you cut sugar right away?
Sugar got cut pretty quick, yeah.
And what did you notice from cutting sugar?
I noticed immediate changes. Obviously, the weight started coming off really quickly.
The swings.
The swings.
The ups and downs that you would have.
And my
crashes.
Like my sugar crashes that I'd had since I was a kid. I didn't have them anymore.
It stopped.
And what did you replace the sugar with in your diet?
So we,
sorry, one more thing. Where did you get your sugar from?
Oh, prepackaged crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of prepackaged stuff and sodas.
Okay. Like when you say like Wheat Thins or Ritz crackers or just shit like that.
Yeah, or like
Pop-Tarts.
Oh God, Pop-Tarts. Don't even talk about them brown sugar, them cinnamon and brown sugar Pop-Tarts.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's hard. That's hardcore.
Yeah.
That's like shooting heroin in the sugar realm. Pop-Tarts are.
I was big on Pop-Tarts. Cereal, love cereal, all of that. Just all of that for sure. So all that went out, and so that was replaced with fruits. Actually, we stopped eating from packages.
Yeah. That was big.
That was a big deal, and to this day, I keep that very protected. Is I don't drink soda at all. So it's kind of like
not even a diet. Like you're sleepy, you got an hour of driving to do. You won't drink a Diet Coke.
No, it's been over 4 years that I have been, and I say it like an alcoholic. I have been clean from sodas for over 4 years.
Wow.
And fast food. Those were my two that I would stay and keep for the rest of my life, that I would never eat ever again.
Wow, congratulations. No fast food.
Nope.
Meaning like no McDonald's, Taco Bell,
no.
Pizza Hut.
Nope.
Is that fast food?
I don't eat that.
Oh, all right.
It's
none of it.
Yeah. Subway. Is that fast food?
Is that Subway?
I don't eat it.
No. You're in a pinch and you guys are going on a long trip and you get really hungry. What will you eat?
We meal prep.
We meal prep. Yeah. Pack it with us.
So you don't give yourself any excuse?
No.
Do you eat any bars?
Yes.
What bars do you eat?
So I make some homemade protein bars.
Of course.
We like to cook. We love to cook.
Awesome.
So we love cooking. But there are RX bars. Mm-hmm. I like those a lot because they're dairy free and they have like 4 or 5 different ingredients in them.
You do Perfect Bar?
That's about it.
Have we done Perfect Bar?
Did you just get some to try with the kids? Was that the Perfect Bar?
Whole Foods, they're refrigerated?
Yeah. We've tried those. Yeah. And there's another one. Is it from
Steve's Do you know RX Bar sold to Johnson
Kellogg?
To Kellogg for $600 million.
Wow.
We'll see if I continue eating them.
I want those guys on the podcast. I have to guess those guys were CrossFitters.
Just tell them to bring the blueberry ones.
You quit it with the blueberry ones.
So good.
The chocolate sea salt.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you do this CrossFit thing for 6 months.
So yeah, I worked with him for 6 months, and I lost. I think in that time frame, I lost about 70 pounds.
A big chunk.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when I finished with Brian in December of 2014, I had lost 100 pounds.
Have you done a wall ball up to that point?
No.
What were the movements you guys really did a lot of?
We did a lot of stuff with dumbbells. a lot of
air squats.
Yeah, my mobility and my squats is a little janky, so we had to work around that. We did a lot of,
I remember seeing a video of you doing burpee
stuff. He had a battle rope. We did a lot of battle rope. We did do wall balls. We did. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I remember tossing it up on the side of his house, which was bricked.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. Tire stuff.
Okay.
We hit tires a lot with sledgehammers, tire flips, tire drags, a lot of that stuff. We did ring row type stuff because I couldn't do pull-ups at the time.
Were people not recognizing you when you lost 70 pounds?
Yeah, it was happening really very consistently because I was, like I said, I was all in. We changed the diet. Like finally things were happening, and I was getting to a point where I had lost more weight than we'd ever lost in any other endeavor before. So it was almost like a rock rolling down the hill, like gathering moss.
Momentum and everything.
Hence what we talked about in the beginning, getting too skinny.
Yeah.
There you go.
Became obsessive compulsive about.
Because I'm good at that.
Went the other way.
Yeah, you really enjoy losing weight, so why not just fucking lose it all?
Just go.
But you know what? I will say that there was a time, like after I hit 100 pounds loss, I was right at about 140 pounds. And then that's when I said, for financial reasons, and I really wanted to find a CrossFit community, not just the one-on-one, but a class.
As we learned more about
what CrossFit was
and everything,
that's where we would want to go. So that's when we found Behemoth CrossFit with Asia, Arian, and Leah Bartow.
Was that hard breaking up with Brian McDonald?
It was a little tough because I never wanted him to feel like I was like breaking up with him, but he understood like we were really excited about the community, and he open arms said, "I'm always here if you need me. I'm always going to support you." And we are still really good friends now.
Yeah.
And by then, were you a regular at McDonald's Garage?
Yeah, you were coming like once a week with me.
Probably once a week, once every other week.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, because I was doing like 3 or 4 times a week with him.
Yeah.
And then you had did he recommend Behemoth?
No, I Googled it and did a lot of research.
And we tried several.
We did. We tried several that were super close to us, and I just didn't get the feeling that it felt like what was it?
So for me, at some of the other ones we tried, it felt like we were a number.
And
that's
right.
When we went to Behemoth and Asia walked us through some of the intro stuff, it was...
He's awesome, isn't he?
Oh, he is incredible.
There's just...
incredible.
We can't even... The whole lot of them, Asia, Arian, Leah, just... I can't... They're our family. Some of our best friends have been made in the last 4 years that we've been there. We can't imagine our life without it.
Was Asia going to the games?
He finished in 2013, and we started January 2014. So that we just missed his tail end of his competitive.
He was a real outlier due to his shape and size.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see guys his size.
Yeah, he was great. Just
or with his hair.
Yeah.
Majestic.
Beautiful.
It is majestic.
The conditions, clearly.
I know it. I told him just last week, I said, when do I get to French braid it? Because, I French braid all the girls' hair at the gym. And I'm telling you right now, I'm calling you out. Don't forget.
So you go to the gym and day one, it's love at first sight.
Yeah, we did this intro on-ramp class.
So being in the core at A&M, doing push-ups my entire life, he explained a push-up that made so much sense and it felt so good, and that was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. We need to spend a month with him just to make sure this is the right gym. But this is far different from where we were before. On some other gyms we tried out,
he was concerned with the efficacy of the movement, right?
Absolutely.
Because he's a perfectionist at his craft. Because he wants you to move well for a long time.
And that's what CrossFit is.
Yep.
It's chasing excellence, chasing that perfect movement that you'll never reach.
And it was different from the beginning. And I remember we took a trip to Vegas, just you and I, like shortly after our on-ramp class. We'd gotten the pricing. It's a 25-minute drive from our house. So we had to like figure all this out. And we made it work financially. We had to make some sacrifices to make it work, but we weren't eating out anymore. We had money that we could save because we were no longer eating like assholes.
And you weren't paying for meds.
And I wasn't paying for medications or the co-pays for the doctor visits.
Doctors every 6 weeks.
When you started going to McDonald's gym, you said you quit the antidepressants?
Yes.
What was that like? Were you noticing was that difficult, or were the workouts replacing that?
It replaced it. It was different than the times that I had to get off medication just to replace it with another one. But it was so different because I had all these endorphins and this adrenaline and a different mindset, right? It was like therapy for my mind and my body without being therapy at all, if that makes sense.
What from my side, watching you go through the change and everything was a very clear change. Seeing your energy, seeing your outlook, you had a brightness about you. It wasn't this doom and gloom. It wasn't fearing the day. You were excited about the day, and it was just a complete mental shift.
It was a big shift. It was a huge shift. I felt it. I could feel it. I could see it. It was wonderful.
For people who are on antidepressants and who don't have the CrossFit experience, of working out at this really high intensity, how would you describe it to them? What would you say to encourage them to make that step?
I would say, I think a lot of people say, oh, I could never do that. Like, that's so crazy. They get this in their mind that, it's all this craziness and what we do is like what games athletes do. And I tell them the wonderful thing about CrossFit is that everything that you do is scalable to whatever your level is. And our gym is great because it has a variety of levels of athleticism in there. So I think that people can sometimes feel a little intimidated, and I think that they should not be, because it really is scalable to whatever your level is currently.
Is it weird to you sometimes that you think, holy shit, I'm fitter than some of the people in this room?
You know what? Yes, because if you were to tell me if you were to tell me 5 years ago that I would be sitting here speaking to, I hope, a lot of people.
Me too.
About living a fit, healthy lifestyle, I would have said, no way in hell. I would have laughed at you. I was in such a different space on the opposite end of that. Not only was I not fit, but I couldn't even imagine trying to help somebody else be fit and healthy. It's changed our lives in ways that I don't know that we could ever fully express.
Do you feel pressure at all not to relapse?
I never feel that way because I know my personality would never allow me to go back that way physically, but my mind always worries about being a fat girl, right? So for the first 2 years after I lost my weight, I had to reshape what I saw in the mirror because, I lost that last 60, 70 pounds in about 6 to 7 months. Everything, my entire wardrobe changed. Even my underwear, my bras, nothing that I had from my other life fit me anymore. I was literally a new person. What does that mean for me? What does that mean for who I am, for my friends? I'm the same person, but I don't look the same. And seeing who I saw in the mirror, my eyes still saw 245-pound Dani. And I think even now, I don't see myself at 245, but I don't think that I see myself fully as other people do. I have to go back and look at pictures like last year, the tail end of last year, when I got too lean. And I have to go and look and be honest with myself and say, is that the way that I want to look? Do I want to give up being strong just to be lean? Is that important to me? It's not important to me. So I have to be okay with, maybe I put on some pounds, but that means I can do more pull-ups. So that means I can be stronger. And that means I don't have to be so obsessed with food.
Gary said you never kill the fat man. You're
Nope.
always killing him. Every
Always.
morning you got to wake up and slay him.
Yes.
It's not like you kill him and he goes away.
No, it doesn't go away. I think people don't really understand that. But when you do lose a massive amount of weight, there are a lot of mental blocks that you have to constantly be guarding against, for sure.
It's that journey. It's like you said, it's never ending. And I think with the personal trainer that we had, one, it was out of our budget, but two, it wasn't a realistic plan.
Yeah.
It was crash course, try to get from A to B, and then once you got to B, you walk away. There wasn't that sustainability. There was no education. There was no foundation like what we've gotten.
Sustainability.
Yes. And that's why we've been able to be successful. And it's exactly when you say, are you afraid to relapse? No, I'm not, because we've set up things in our life that I could never do that. You know, we don't drink sodas. Our kids don't drink them. We don't bring them into the house. We don't eat fast food. It's what we have in place sets us up for success. Even when we're tired or even when we have to take trips, like we still plan ahead because that's how we're successful and it's that important to us.
You've changed your lifestyle habits.
Absolutely.
Period.
And it wasn't this for Dani, there was that big aha, and for her personality it was that flip the switch and make these drastic changes from one end of the spectrum to the other. But even in that, there were small steps that allowed us to be sustainable. So like we said earlier, when leaving the kids behind for this trip and writing down all the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, we live it and we don't think too much about it. But when we write everything down for the parents to watch, it's a lot of things that we do, and we've made these little changes over time, so that they are sustainable. So
like we meal prep for our kids before we left.
Wow.
So that Gigi didn't have to stress about.
Gigi's who?
Gigi is Trav's mom.
Oh, that's what we call Greg sometimes.
Yeah.
Greg Glassman. Gigi.
Yeah, they have a Gigi, and then my mom is Bunny. So we have a Gigi and a Bunny.
We don't have a bunny.
No bunny.
Not that I know of.
No, we have a Gigi, but we don't have a bunny.
So yeah, we left because all of our family, your parents, my parents, they are so supportive of us, and they want to, feed our children when they have them for weekends the way we would. So they ask what do we feed?
Wow,
them?
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't have it quite like that. I think the grandparents, my parents will do things, or people will do things, like I send my kid to school,
right? And
like they'll be like, hey, there's cupcake day, and I just kind of like bear down on my teeth and go, okay,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
But we're okay with that. That's balance. Like I'm not going to send my kids to.
And
I
don't want to give him any of my fucking loop-de-loop shit.
Yeah, we send them to birthday parties, and I'm not like making them their own little gluten-free birthday cake that they eat alongside.
Right.
It's like
what
you said, sustainability.
Yeah, what we try to do.
There you go again.
Balance
with the kids is
sustainability. Yep.
We teach them about what's healthy choices, what aren't healthy choices, but we also know that kids are kids, and there's certain experiences, and food is good.
Right.
And if we don't set them up for success and show them what are good habits, and when they go to a sleepover, they can go off the rails.
I have pushed back on all soda.
Yeah.
That is somewhere like you go to a birthday party and they're eating cake and someone will pour them a Coke. And I go,
No, there's no space for that in my life.
I can't really do that one either. I can't do soda.
Yeah, you can have cake, you can have a cupcake.
Right. Right.
That's fine.
Right.
But
when he poops in the toilet, he gets a gummy.
There you go.
Actually, he gets a choice between a gummy and date. And I'd say 90% of the time he chooses date.
A date?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Probably keeps him regular too.
Keeps him going back.
Yeah.
Getting those treats.
I like that.
He's ahead of his time.
You're at the great Asia Bartow's gym, Behemoth CrossFit. When do you go back to the doctor and tell the doctor, hey, I have type 2 diabetes, blah, blah, blah. I'm just here for a physical. And he tests you and goes, no, you don't.
So I went with his insurance, because he's insured through his company. We have to go every year and get these like little...
It's a wellness
check where they do like your cholesterol, all this stuff. So I see my OB, every yearly for my well woman's, and he's like, sees my transformation, like, what are you doing? And I told him, and he said, I'm so proud of you. Like, these are the patients that, we live and die for. So I remember I had to go in to do that blood work, and I got the information back, and my fasting glucose is in the 60s, which pre all this, it was over 100. So fasting glucose needs to be under 100 to be considered normal, and really it should be under 90. But over 100 is pre-diabetic, and over I think 115 or 120, it's like diabetes. And I was in that realm. I was in that space. So now fasting glucose is in this upper 60s and low 70s. My cholesterol and all that, which was all really bad, One of them, the bad one, it said NA on the paperwork. Like it didn't even register.
So low. It
didn't register.
That's not available?
Yeah.
I think in the common vernacular, yeah.
You got NA'd.
I got NA'd.
Awesome.
I got NA'd.
And were you just ecstatic?
I was so ecstatic because like I'm like totally exciting. A numbers person. I love that. And so we've done it for like 3 or 4 years now.
4 years now.
So I like compare it every year, and obviously nothing can really get better. Like the sugar's great, the glucose where it is good. But what I've been working on is actually getting my my good cholesterol a little higher, because for women, having a little bit more good cholesterol is helpful to reproductive health. And, they're showing that it just like synergistically is great. So I've been working with my nutrition to up my good cholesterol, which was higher this year than it was last year.
It's great.
That experience you had in the 5th grade that you mentioned, these I don't know what you want to call them. These sugar crashes that are so severe you start sweating and you have to ask the teacher for food, which in the 5th grade isn't easy. You don't want to talk to your teacher for shit.
Right.
Are you experiencing anything like that these days?
No.
Zero.
No. Mm-mm. Nope. We eat.
Do you see your kids experiencing anything like that?
No. I think it's all, I will say that I never experience it, but I can get close to feeling like that if I eat like too many carbs in the morning and not enough fats to balance it out. So I love pancakes, and I allow myself to have gluten-free pancakes on Sunday morning with my kids as just something that we enjoy to have. And I find that if I don't balance that out with some protein and some fat, like by lunchtime, I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm ready for some food. I'm feeling that kind of that crash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little hangry.
My wife makes a flourless pancake. Is it a flourless pancake?
I've made those before with like bananas and an egg white and all that. Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah,
he doesn't like those, but we have a gluten-free pancake mix that we'll bring out, and we do that like once a week, just because I don't want my kids to get used to eating pancakes all the time.
Do you use syrup?
Just my butter.
I was at a restaurant the other day, and there were some kids eating pancakes, and my son said, "Can I have one?" And I said, "Sure." And one of the parents threw the pancake over on my kid's plate, and he had never seen syrup before, and so he asked. I think one of the other kids put syrup on the pancake, and he goes, "Why are they putting tea on their pancake?"
Tea.
Yeah, and I said, "I have no idea."
That's cute.
And he goes, "Well, I don't want that on mine." I said, "I don't want tea on my pancake either.
Yeah.
I just roll with it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just like, okay, I'm good.
Exactly.
One of the things that we've learned through our journey also is with Caden and his allergies and what eating healthy and eating balanced, clean foods does for us, but also for him. So it leads into so much more, and educating him on why it's so important for him. Gluten is a bad thing and what it can do to him, especially this time of year with his allergies.
He has really severe tree pollen allergies, and this time of year in Houston, the pollen is so thick on the ground, it's like a layer of yellow everywhere.
Terrible.
And he gets like asthmatic, his eyes swell shut. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
Almost every year we're guaranteed an
in this
ER
time frame
visit.
It's awful.
That bad?
Yeah, and we've noticed that if we keep his diet like free of gluten, really careful with the dairy,
reduce inflammation on all fronts.
Yes,
everything.
On all fronts, like reducing his like histamine production and reaction to histamine. So we've looked into a lot of that. So like you said, we tell him, you feel better when you eat like this, and then it's not a question for him.
Have you taken your L1?
No.
Are you guys going to take it?
I would like to do it later this year. Yeah, second half of the year.
This is such an amazing story. Clearly having someone who loves you in your life your whole life is not something that everyone gets as early as you got. So you had definitely some magic. I don't want to take away from like the things that you had going, and hitting rock bottom in a way that you did while you had support, another circumstantially fortuitous for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the part that why we were so eager to have you on, and why we were so eager to send Lindsay and Elliot follow you, is because you guys went to an affiliate or you went to someone who had taken their L1, Brian McDonald. Is that his name?
Brian had,
Brian,
originally, yeah.
You went to Brian McDonald, who had taken his L1, and he taught you the CrossFit methodology.
Yeah.
And you implemented it and embraced it, and you had a complete life change. You got cured of your type 2 diabetes. You got a whole new wardrobe, and you graduated to an affiliate where you consider the affiliate owner one of your best friends.
Absolutely.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Helped us have kids.
Yep. Helped us allowed us to have a life that I never could have imagined. Mm-hmm. I mean, truly,
fulfilling.
I know that sounds really like corny, but it really is true. A life that I never could have imagined, and the person that I could only have a dream to be, and that's strong enough to notice that I am human. I'm still going to make mistakes. And I still do make mistakes, but be strong enough to say, okay, this is the direction I'm going to go now, and this is how I'm going to change it. And really, I get all that from Travis because he's really the leader in our family.
Well, he has the gratitude journal, so you have some gratitude also.
Yeah, but really,
if you worked here, I would every morning talk to you about your gratitude.
He's
journal.
Incredible, and that's just the surface. Like, we could have a whole podcast on the shit that Travis does that is completely life changing, and we play off of each other. I'm really good at being like a good soldier. I'm going to plug in and we're going to do this day after day after day. And Travis is very good at like, hey, let's look at it from this way. Maybe we could do things better that way. But in the end, we just play off of each other and make this work.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really amazing about it is I don't know where we're going to be next year or in 2 years or 5 years, but I know we're going to do it together.
Are you getting a lot more of attention from males now that you have this this CrossFit beauty that you're?
I guess. I mean,
you told me a story about you being in Toys R Us one day.
I did. I forgot about that.
I mean, not everyone's going to lose weight and have the transformation that you guys have. You guys are clearly a very attractive couple that you guys were hiding, and now you've exposed it. I would guess that. What happened in Toys R Us?
What happened in Toys R Us? Well,
and because you're so young, I mean, I'm assuming people don't think you have a family. And
well, I was actually with my daughter. We were shopping, I guess Christmas shopping.
It was about a year ago.
Yeah, it was like a year ago. We were Christmas shopping on the bike aisle. Santa was going to bring her a bike, so we're trying to figure out which one fits. And there was another guy there, and he was with his daughter, and he looked like he worked out. He looked, pretty beefy. And I'm like a nice person. I just talk to whatever. Doesn't talk to anybody. It doesn't really matter.
Doorknob.
Yeah, I just talk to a doorknob. And I remember he struck up a conversation with me about, what bike are you going to get? Which one are you looking at or thinking of? And I was just friendly back in reverse. And he just kept talking and asked me, well, where do you work out? You're obviously in shape. What do you do? And then I could feel like the conversation continuing to get like a little bit more personal, and I started, creeper status was like, yeah.
Radar.
Yeah. So he said, well, are you married? And I was wearing my wedding ring. I was like, yeah, I'm married. We've been married for, I guess it'd been like almost 10 years at this point. And he said, which I find this to be absolutely crazy, said, well, if you ever want to have a good time, this is my number. And proceeded to write it on like a little slip of paper out of his pocket. And I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and say no on that, but thanks. So I grabbed Harper Joe, and I remember like...
was his daughter right there?
She was really young. She was like 18 months, so I don't think... But yeah, she was. Okay. Yeah. It was pretty creepy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Here's my number, and by the way, the unicorn bike is awesome.
Yeah. Get that unicorn bike. Yeah.
Wow.
If you ever want to have a good time, here's my number. I was like, I'm going to go with no on that, but thanks.
Wow. Did that make you want to put on 80 pounds right away?
No, it just made me feel like really like uncomfortable. So I remember getting Harper Joe close and approaching the registers as quickly as possible because I felt uncomfortable.
Right.
And I remember like as we were walking, I could feel him behind me. So I just told the lady at the front, I said, there's a really creepy dude back there and we're going to leave. I would appreciate it if you would watch me walk to my car. And we were parked like kind of around the side, and she just stood out there and just watched me and my daughter walk to the car.
Wow.
Dang.
I forgot about that.
You're never going to let Haley go to Toys R Us ever again now?
Fuck no.
Totally forgot about that.
The difficulties that come with being a CrossFitter.
Yeah.
People think it's all just fun and games.
But I would say, aside from that kind of thing, high school friends who reached out to you and just said, "You look amazing. I can't believe this is totally crazy."
Men
and women. I would say that because I've always been very open about my journey and shared it pretty openly on Facebook as I was losing weight, and really to keep myself accountable, but to show others, because like I said earlier, I never thought this was possible for me. I'd tried everything failed. Like I thought it was going to be, oh, I'm big bone, so I'm just going to be like this. And I lost 20 pounds. That's good enough for me. I really had put a cap on myself. And so I wanted to share with others that I'm not something special. I just choose to do things a little differently, and I do them consistently, and I do them with support. And that's why I'm successful. You can do this too, because I promise you, I was sitting there just like you are now, wanting to change, wishing I could. Trust me and believe me that your journey may look different. I'm not saying that what I do is perfect for everybody else, but being okay with being uncomfortable to make a big life change may be the thing that saves you. So we've gotten tons of Facebook messages for years. And even more so now since the videos come out. I can't tell you, probably on a weekly basis.
Almost every other day.
I had somebody that I don't even know across the United States reach out to me, said, I saw your video. I'm a mom. I have PCOS too. And I didn't.
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah. I had PCOS too. I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. Your transformation with your husband's amazing. And my partner and I want to do this together. So I connect with people I don't even know, and we do the best we can with sharing our story. And it's really gotten us thinking, like, why are we not helping more people more formally?
Yeah.
Like, if people keep telling us,
you guys need to take your L1, it's going to blow your mind.
Yeah. Why are we not helping the masses more? And that's what we told Elliot and Lindsay with this video was we were so excited.
You are, with the video being here, you are,
For this podcast, we were just overly excited because the biggest thing is to share with other people that you can do extraordinary things being an ordinary person.
What if I would have invited you to a CrossFit gym at 19? What if Travis would have been like, honey, I want to try this thing called CrossFit at 19?
Yeah. We actually talk about it all the time.
And you're 100 pounds overweight. Would you have done it? Would the CrossFit gym have accepted you? Do you ever see people come into Asia's gym who are 100 pounds overweight?
We do.
Yes.
And they are accepted because everybody in that gym is a family member.
Yeah, that community there is.
Yeah, there's no huge egos. That's what I really love about it.
So people don't have to hit rock bottom.
No. You don't. I think we talk about that a lot, is if this had come into our life earlier,
where would we be? What will we be doing right now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally we see CrossFit as a cure for obesity, type 2 diabetes, all sorts of lifestyle maladies, whether you're going through like a divorce or whatever. But obviously the big ones are weight loss and drug addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And people will get some and then PTSD, some sort of stress, mental stress. And it's interesting that you've kind of you've used it for all three, right? 100 burpees for time will really, really be good for your metabolic system, help shut down the noises in your brain as you struggle to get your last breath, right?
Yeah.
And they'll give you that that hormonal surge you need that can buy you some space between you and your medication.
Right. I agree 100%.
It's crazy. The only thing you're missing is, how come you're not covered in tattoos?
Well, actually, he is now.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
I'm not a proponent of tattoos, by the way, at all. I have 0 tattoos. But it seems like Like that should be like you should have
like that's next on the little tick list.
You need a sleeve and
that's funny. He actually just got finished. Well, you have one more session. He's had how many?
Four
8-hour sessions to get a really big piece on his chest and his arm, depicting our journey.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Some symbolic.
So I think he showed it a little
there's...
earlier in that picture of us on the Open last Friday.
Yeah,
it's almost finished.
Almost there.
Is this your first Open?
No, I've done the Open since I started at Behemoth in 2014.
Yeah. So
it goes on the back too. You can't see the back, but
there's some stuff on the back of the arm. So there's an hourglass that talks about time, and it's finite, and you seize the day, seize the moment, be grateful for everything that you have, because at some point, the sand's going to run out. You've got to take matters into your own hands. There's a kind of an old weathered tree there, and that's all about our family and what we've overcome and survived through. And it's that tree out in the field who's been through all the storms, and it's not falling down. And then a phoenix there, that's my kind of representation of Danielle and her driving spirit for me in this whole transition in Phoenix is that's transformational.
It had a rebirth, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that's what she did. She had a rebirth right in front of you.
For her and for me and for us as a couple, as a family, and then as individuals. So that's kind of where it all comes together. And then on the inside of my arm is a compass for direction, with north pointing towards my heart.
Who got you into the gratitude journal? Is that something your dad did?
Asia
did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
there's some real coaching going on there.
It is.
Their coaching goes beyond just what they do CrossFit. It's a whole, I mean, they're all about lifestyle changes, and you can follow their Instagram, Facebook. They're very open and sharing about the things that they do that keeps them successful, the things that helps them along the way. So we've learned a ton, and then learned a lot on our own, just reading and things that the authors that are important to them or podcasters that are important to them. We've listened to her on our own and just started delving on our own down that path.
And another piece that they've helped me to really recognize more and more of here lately is there's the fitness, the mental fitness, and the physical fitness aspects of it, and the guidance piece. But then there's also something about the community that we've always recognized. We wanted it when we made this switch from Brian to Behemoth. We wanted that group aspect, but being around other people, that socialization does so much. And I've seen it with you and your mental journeys and everything, that being around others and suffering through workouts with other people and living through those things, overcoming those challenges, and then high-fiving at the end, that is just an incredible release of hormones, endorphins on a whole nother level.
Agreed.
That you don't always get from a Globo gym where you have a bro doing reps with you or something like that. Yeah. It's a whole nother experience and a whole nother element that we get from CrossFit and the community.
When tell me about how CrossFit reached out to you for your story. How did they hear about your story, and who reached out to you?
Asia actually reached out to us, right?
Yep.
He said, "Hey, someone from CrossFit HQ wants to do a story on you guys."
Well, so at Behemoth, they do a kind of a highlight of someone from the group, from the community every month. Mm-hmm. And I think when it was your turn, you had mentioned some of the things that you had gone through with PCOS and depression, everything like that, and diabetes. And he remembered that from 2 years or so
2 years ago. And I think Asia or Elliot and Lindsay reached out to Asia and said, "Hey, do you
Are they members there?"
No, they're not. They're from Austin. They live in Austin. I think they're just good friends with Asia.
Yeah.
I think Lindsay and Asia are friends.
So somehow you popped up on their radar.
Well, yeah, they said, "Do you have any members that have had big transformations, that have had stories, that have gotten rid of, disease,
any chronic disease or anything
things like that?" And Asia said, "Well, actually, yeah, I do." So he sent us a text and said, "Would you guys be interested in sharing your story on a bigger platform?" We said absolutely.
Yeah.
For years, CrossFit Fitness has been forging elite fitness. It was to create the greatest fitness and health program in the world that would make it so people who their fitness is a life-saving aspect of their job,
right,
like being a firefighter or in the military, that they could do this in their downtime, so that then when they actually did their job, they would be prepared.
Right.
And now, just on that complete other end of the spectrum, you know, not only is it helping the people who are already very healthy and fit to become the fittest and let their DNA, you know, express itself in the greatest way possible, but people who have had kids, who've had chronic disease, who've had type 2 diabetes, who've had cancer, who've had the worst things possible to them, lose limbs, right? Use this incredible fitness methodology to change their life.
It's incredible. You
said something a little while ago that I think you maybe said something as cheesy as it sounds. God, I could remember. I wish I could remember your exact words, but I think that everyone who does CrossFit feels that way about CrossFit. I think they think, fuck, where would I be today without CrossFit? Even people who come to it fit. And the people who don't say that, and I don't know this for a fact, there's no study, but I think it's people who've been doing it for 10 years and maybe forgot.
Yeah.
I think it's like a religious awakening. You know, the first 4 or 5 years, you really have that like, holy shit. Right. And then you kind of get settled and you get complacent. And I think it's cyclical. I think it comes back. Someone like you, it might never go away, right?
Yeah. I think at some, I think everybody can be a little complacent and maybe take things for granted. I think for me, I don't necessarily take it for granted, but I think what shifts for me is my expectation that, I've done this for 4 years. I should be able to do X, Y, and Z.
Right. Whereas
I need to be like, who put those expectations on me? I did. Where did I pull them from? My ass. I did. Right. There's no framework of says that you need to be able to do this many pull-ups, blah, 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 blah at 4 years. And what does it even matter? What matters is that I'm doing my job as a wife. I'm doing my job as a mother, as a friend, as a human being. I'm doing it well. I'm healthy and I'm enjoying being fit. I'm trying to increase my lifespan and being healthy. And I'm trying to work on being mentally more strong. And to me, that's more important than how many pull-ups I can do, or if I can do a muscle up, which I can't, but maybe one day I will. But you know what I mean? I think my goals have shifted from being so hard on myself about the tick boxes of what I should be able to do in CrossFit to what am I doing right now? What should I be grateful for right now? And what does it really matter in the end of things? I'm not here to compete or anything like that. I'm just here to be
the best you.
The best that I can be.
Right.
So what does that mean for me?
Be there for your kids, for your husband, for your family, and other community members.
Yeah.
Greg told me one time that our only value as human beings is what we can offer to other people. That's our only true value. And I was like, holy shit.
Absolutely true.
And it was interesting. He told me that as we walked by a hot dog vendor who was selling hot dogs on the street, a musician who was collecting money for playing music on the street, and a panhandler. And I was thinking they're all offering 3 different things, right? But like I chose to give my money to the hot dog vendor and the musician.
Yeah.
Like that's what I needed.
Yeah.
Right.
At the time.
Yeah.
Sounds like you were in Berkeley.
we were in San Luis Obispo, but I thought, even the panhandler, like you feel the need to give someone money who's begging for money, he's there for you.
Yeah.
I don't have that need. I had the need though, the guy who was like playing the clarinet with his clarinet case open.
Yeah.
Cool. I support that.
Right.
Awesome.
Guy at the hot dog vendor, I support that. Buy a hot dog.
100%.
You guys don't eat hot dogs.
No, I don't eat hot dogs.
We covered a lot. Thank you for letting us take that journey down your entire life.
For sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. We can't express how thankful we are to be here right now.
You're a beacon of light and a role model in the community, and I just hope that everyone knows that, like you expressed it. We didn't rehearse any of this, but you said all the things that I wanted you to say, like we had it scripted out. Anyone can do this. I was cured, and it's going to be a lifelong battle. And I think that it's like that for everyone, but people don't think it is. Mm-hmm. And then we even touched on some other stuff, which would be fun to have you back like in a year and talk about. Because I didn't talk about this with Kai, but I noticed that she had a very serious obsession with working out.
Yeah.
Because of the results she was getting from
it.
And there definitely are some dangers with that, because it's just your body can only handle so much wear and tear, right?
And I've done that too.
Yeah.
That was all last year.
Right. You don't want to abuse this guy. Mm-hmm. Sorry, gal. But Have you guys worked out today?
We have not.
We have not.
Okay. Do you want to work out?
Sure.
All right. Eric?
Land the plane, Eric.
We don't have an intro, but we have an ending.